world's falling away. Tell me now the fortune of the realm. Come on, I say now to wipe out the traitors. The earth trembles and we gather ashore for the lands we swear to own. For our kingdom
Hello, 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 good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's the official Valence League with the Division 1 Losers Bracket Final. I'm Lithy, and on my side, the one and only Foxy. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Oh, I am nice and alive tonight. We've got an exciting matchup today. It's really hype. I'm up and ready. Didn't even need a Red Bull for this one.
Hell yeah. There we go. Didn't even need a Red Bull. That's what I love to hear. And I think teams are ready as well, so we'll not beat around the bush too much and jump into the series in just a second. But we have an absolute banger on the line here. VIS eSports obviously coming through the whole lower bracket with quite the run. They got knocked down in the very first round against the current team positioned in the grand final, Eclipse Solar. And since then, they have done nothing but dominate. And even in the regular season, where these two teams already faced up against each other, not Eclipse Solar, sorry, VIS eSports was able to just flat out 2-0. I'm really curious if the Blue Sky Eagles can take this one back. As we jump right into pick bands, Misfortune, Xayah, and of course Viego already taken out, as well as our Shady's Akali banned away.
Yeah, so a lot of target bans coming out to start off with. Not something that's particularly unusual in these series so far. But Olaf is certainly one that you don't often see banned, perhaps scared of the now infamous Olaf Lulu combo that is running around and killing everyone. But Leona now the final ban coming in, and Jin is going to be the first pick. So that's certainly an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm a little bit caught off guard with that one because we talked a little bit about it before the game, right? Bo Bobbin plays a little bit of a set of off meta. So to say, ADC is still very decent. He has the Xayah in his repertoire that's very good. He has a fantastic Samira, but the Jhin, not really something we were expecting. And right away, that one is answered with a Braum and a Kayn.
Yeah, and Braum Kayn is really just an easy answer into this. Kayn is obviously a power pick at the moment. He's kind of strong in the meta, and Braum is just a really nice champion into Jhin. Jhin is very reliant on getting those single shots off onto targets, and obviously the Braum shield, just being able to block off all of his damage from a single hit is really, really powerful. And Karma and Lee Sin being the follow-up, this doesn't look supremely strong to me.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said about this, but the Karma strikes me as odd. A little bit of support for the Jhin. Of course, we saw T1 pack quite the punch with the speedy Jhin with the Zilean matchup. Karma able to do this to a not very equal at level, but the attempt definitely is there with the shields. And Lee Sin, all around very, very strong jungler still, so decent pick into the Kayn, I'd say. And we're just waiting for the Blue Sky Eagles to pick the last rotation pick up here. I'd kind of expect an ADC. Yep, there's the Lucian. A lot
Lucian
of early
Braum.
game power with that Braum.
Yeah, very a classic combo and pretty decent into an Enchanter lane, assuming this Karma is going support and not being swapped to mid lane. It's very easy to get hit by a Braum Q, and then obviously Lucian follows up with his dash, you're stunned, and then you're dead. Lucian is a very high priority champion, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised that he wasn't the first pick here over the Jhin. While we have seen Jhin be very successful at Worlds and in other series as well, it's a little bit of an odd champion to blind pick, given that, especially when you leave champions open like Lucian Braum.
No, absolutely. I'm totally with you there, and especially because Boboan has that fantastic Samira in his repertoire, and that would be a decent alternative. But of course, we gotta look towards the other bands that have come in now with the second rotation. The Camille, the Malphite, the Cannon banned out, a lot of attention thrown towards the top side, as well as the Victor taken away from the lineup of the Blue Sky Eagles. They're gonna pick up a Gnar for themselves and leave that mid lane position open for a last pick counter.
Ooh,
to give them as much agency against VIS eSports as possible.
An Aurelia here would be very spicy. Obviously, very aggressive champion.
I love it.
Oh, very reliant on snowballing as well. So I'd be interested to see how much time Lee Sin is going to be spending around this Aurelia lane. Assuming it's Lee Sin jungle and not some crazy other pick, because the meta is quite open at the moment, I feel.
Yeah,
People can
it's a
basically
lot of
pick anything,
flexing.
And Ari.
Ooh.
Ooh.
This might be a little bit of a surprise to you, but I've honestly seen a lot of Ari recently.
Really?
Just
I have seen none of
earlier
it.
this week, I got to cast another game with an Ari. In this
Wow.
case, she was kind of supposed to be an answer to a Vel'Koz, got baited into a Tryndamere mid lane matchup, and that didn't go quite as well. But overall, the concept of an Ari usually is do the same thing that a LeBlanc does, just a little bit different, with a little bit more different, faster type of CC, I guess. And Ryze, really just baseline solid answer to anything you put into the mid lane, really.
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously, it's also a champion that can scale quite well into the side lanes. Not too sure on its late game potential against an Aurelia. I believe he has the advantage if he's able to sort of fight Aurelia before she can get to stack up on the wave, but I'm not entirely sure on that. But it does help that Kayn and Na are both AD heavy champions, so if she does decide to buy something like steel caps or just invest into an armor item in general, then Ryze will be a very good matchup for her in the mid and late game on the sides.
Yeah, I mean, Ari is an interesting pick, right?
Yeah, Ari is really exciting here because I feel like with the way that they've picked, Lee Sin, he's not really going to outscale Kayn, right? So
absolutely not, no.
And given how vulnerable Ryze is in the early game, obviously they pre-picked the Ari, but picking Ryze into it means that Ari has a lot of freedom in the early game to maybe pull off some spicy plays with a good old flash charm, or ultimate into charm.
Yeah, absolutely. There are quite a few possibilities they can pull off in the early game. Overall, Shady, if I'm kind of looking at the stats, usually fairly efficient on the dueling side of things on the Ari. Not as much lane focused. Usually a little bit behind in terms of CS, but I'm curious to see where this whole lane goes. You already brought up the gank potential with the Lee Sin. Get a good charm in, and the Ryze is going to be toast. But same thing on the other side. Pre-level 6, you get that instant root from the Ryze. If Killer on the Kayn comes in at the right time, he can definitely pull off some devastating early ganks and kind of snowball this Ryze into maybe an early lead and kind of skip over that, the startup phase that Ryze usually needs. Get one or two items, get into a groove, and then he starts doing massive amounts of damage. So I'm really, really excited about this jungler mid lane synergy in the early game, but also especially towards the top lane. And if I'm seeing this correctly, is Bobbin playing top lane Aurelia?
Yeah, he is.
Insane.
Looks like it's CTC taking the Jhin as well, so that certainly is interesting. Where would you lean in terms of prediction, though? Because these are some interesting comps.
That's a good question. Overall, I'd say VIS eSports definitely, they come in with a lot of momentum. As mentioned, they've been blasting through the lower bracket. They've not even dropped a single game in the recent lower bracket matches. 1-2, 2-0, 3-0 back to back. And regular season, they won 2-0 against the Blue Sky Eagles already. So this one theoretically in their favor. If you just look at the raw numbers, we kind of like to pull in solo queue Elo a little bit here and there, right? Overall, I think Blue Sky Eagles rank in a little bit higher, but that really comes down to a discussion of, okay, which team has more team synergy, and can the other team make use of the higher skill level of the individual players, so to say. But overall, VIS, honestly, for me, the favorites going into this whole matchup, but I am more than ready to be surprised here. I'd love 5 games.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be a close one for sure, because obviously we can't be too sure on who's actually the better team based off other results, because yes, VIS has been on a tear through the lower bracket, but have their opponents been as good as Blue Sky might be? And on the other side, for Blue Sky, after losing the series to Eclipse Solar, how much has that affected them? Or has it affected them at all? Or maybe it's been something positive for them. So, really exciting. I can't wait to get into this one.
Oh, we don't have to wait too much longer. The predictions are up, so if you guys want to get in on the vote here, kind of throw your head into the ring, who is going to pull out this one, definitely grab your channel points and throw them in the hat.
Channel points.
All the channel points, indeed.
Yes.
Tell us who you think will win game 1, because we are going in with a bang. I can promise you that much. And on the skin side, I mean, I can't really decide, but quite honestly, I think VIS is pulling this one out.
Better skins.
I mean, skin equals skill, right?
Yeah. True. Right, I believe we're just waiting to sync up. Yep.
Oh. I'm inting a little bit.
Oh.
There we go. I'm in 10 seconds. There we go. All right, we're synced up, and hopefully not looking at any sync trouble, so this is going to be a good start, I hope so. Oh, is that a 5-stack going towards the top side?
Ooh, it is.
Sign me up, Foxy.
Oh, I'm happy about this. So this is something that we've seen a lot more often in pro play recently, teams just stacking up as a 5 to try and get some vision down, get control of one side of the map. I believe they were just spotted. Yes, they were.
Yep.
Seen by, is it Jenkins? Is that how you pronounce that, with the little dots over the double A? I'm going to say Jenkins.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Good positioning from the Gnar early, and I mean, kind of lucky that he didn't get caught out, right? And
yeah.
On top of that, look at the Blue Sky Eagles spreading their wings, flapping over towards the enemy jungle, and they get down a bunch of wards and Shady. Oh no. Okay. I was gonna say, Shady, don't give me a heart attack now.
Yeah, that was a lot closer than it could have been. Perhaps a little bit trigger happy on the roam queue there, but
maybe
certainly good to get out of it for Shady there. Interesting to note, Jin has started with, or CTC has started with a longsword on Jin, longsword 3 potions. This is something that's been seen a lot more as of late in just general play. It's a really good way for you to speed up that first item power spike, having 350 gold off your mythic. It's pretty nice.
Absolutely. I mean, Jin definitely is one of the ADCs that benefits the most from just buying raw AD, due to the fact that he is not very attack speed heavy due to the reload mechanic. Yeah. So definitely a good start, even though you're trading out a little bit of the other combat stats of the Doran's Blade. We also see villains on the rise, pathing towards the red to stop Kate from getting this one. Jenkins is being turned into Gankins here for a moment, but he gets away with a flash, but that's a Gnar flash invested very, very early on.
Yeah, this is the action we wanted to see from Cade on the Lee Sin, because this is everything that Irelia needs. Oh, action in the bot lane.
Big damage here on Dalika.
Oh,
Kind of turning
Storm
this one around. A 600 is going in with the exhaust.
Double
Ignite
exhaust.
expended as well. That's a lot of damage, actually. Root connects. The Brom very low. This might actually be coming down to just a few more points of HP, but CDC not flashing for a kill attempt. They're happy with what they got, and that was quite a lot. 3 summoners. Basically, all the pressure in the lane they could ever want. And they're looking very happy at the moment.
Yeah, that was really close. I believe it was a perfectly timed exhaust on the side of Smiley that completely stopped the Lucian from being able to put down damage onto Jin when he broke the Braum stun. So, very well played there from the side of Smiley. Obviously, as you pointed out, trade up in summoner spells. So, could be an advantage here if there's any potential fights to be coming around Dragon, which is spawning in a minute. Although I'm not entirely sure whether either of these junglers are going to be taking it super early on.
I mean, the general jungle pathing so far in this game has been quite a mess, right? Because Lee Sin started as at his blue, immediately went over to the enemy red, because Killer actually started in the enemy red side jungle, then went over to take his blue. So it's a little bit all over the place. The pings come in, the TP in the back side. That is Bobbin. No, sorry, it's actually Shady joining the crew on the bot side. First blood goes over, pick up on the Lucian. That 600 APM 80 carry that did not save him from getting murdered. They donate the kill over to the Ahri, and they're very happy with 2 early pickups here.
Interesting that they did not try to get an assist for the Jin. He did not get an assist on that Braum kill.
That's
So
okay, he
maybe-
got first blood.
Yeah, he did get first blood, but a bit of a mess up. I think the game was doing some cool things with pathing, where he couldn't walk around the alcove wall. It's an age-old classic Riot Games when you're clicking in the same place and your character decides to walk backwards and forwards.
Oh wait, you want me to do a flip? I'll do a flip, don't worry.
Exactly. Yeah. But it looks like Blue Sky are looking for this dragon, potentially.
That's an interesting choice to actually go for that one, because Shady is in the position to roam, actually lands a good chunk of damage on Valance, and that is the kill on the Ahri already paying off. It's the blasting rod, but he gets just collapsed on. It's a 3v1, and they completely straight up murder the Ahri. But now Bobbin on the Irelia finds the TP in. Beautiful duet stun lands on Dalika, and they take out the Braum. In the meantime, Kate arrived at the scene as well, and is able to chunk out that dragon. And I'm pretty sure that Killer is not going to contest that. Yep, there is the Infernal picked up by VIS eSports. And that was a very, very questionable dragon start, but CTC not quite through this. Killer's still in the area looking for some damage. APM is following up, and look at that Lucian damage spike in the early game. The Pikeaxe paying off. Trade one back on the bot side. So we have a 3-for-2 on the board overall. Both teams fairly even.
Yeah, that is an odd turn of events. Obviously, very good for Viz to end up picking up the Drake, but that exit kill from Killer was really well calculated. I don't think they Viz expected him to stay in that bottom side jungle after running away from the dragon fight. I think they were expecting him to just find a bush and try and reset.
I mean, he cancelled his backport like, what, 2 times? So...
Yeah, exactly. It was a very long time that he was in there, but ended up paying off for him, which is very nice, as it's a small consolation prize for the dragon.
I mean, yeah, it's a little bit, right? You at least even out the gold difference, so no real gold lead for either team at the moment. We don't really count those 100 gold, 1 to 200 gold. It's really just a few CS, and if we look at that, we have a 20 CS lead already on the top side for Bobbin, even though he did TP around the map. He even has a kill on top of that. But on the other hand, you got a CS lead for Ryze in the mid lane, just mainly due to the fact that Ahri got straight up shanked at some point.
Yeah, but because of the kills coming in, it's only a 200 difference there. Oh, is that mid lane?
There's some action in the mid lane. Shady actually dropping into the turret range, gets chunked out quite heavily. There's a lot of damage from the turret shot. Villains dodges the Sonic Wave and can get away. Killer now joining the fray and pushes everyone else away. But you can also see CTC and Smiley immediately rotating up to make sure their team is safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I'm sure Killer would have loved to go in for more exit kills there, but just very smart rotations from the side of VIS so far. Though I thought for a second, he might be caught out. Yeah.
Yep. Killer is definitely gonna find Kate. He gets the red smite. Oh, that's a flash over the wall.
Jenkins
immediately stalled by Jenkins. That's a Gnar with a boomerang. You don't want to be in that situation. Follow-up slow lands by Killer as well. And that is the name becoming truth.
Oh,
it's another kill.
You missed the Sonic Wave on the minions to try and escape as well, so add insult to injury. I don't think he could have actually got out there, but wow,
yeah.
That's a painful one. I thought it looked a little bit odd. I think he was spotted out on a ward in that jungle there, so yeah, just really unfortunate for him, and they're going to lose Herald now.
It was just a very greedy play, in my opinion, from K. To yes, he got away easy with that red buff, but going for the Crux afterwards was really, really greedy, because he should have been aware of the fact that Killer just went topside jungle from the mid lane, and that he might follow up towards his Crux.
Also, I believe Bobbin was spaced at that point, or basing.
That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Curtain call. Dalika fairly low. Dark Harvest procs. The last shot doesn't quite connect, but that is a Braum Flash invested, and Kate immediately in position to follow up. Sonic Wave lands. That's an exhaust invested immediately from 600. He is gonna try to turn this one around with a culling. Killer now joining in as well. Some skirmish on the top side as well, but Deadly Sin dropping low. Flash in. CTC gets the heal, gets the damage and the kill. Killer now exhausted as well. Smiley beautifully followed up.
Alive.
And that the Kane dropping low. It's the double kill for the 80 carry. CTC popping off hard, and Bobbin is dancing with Jenkins. Can this Aurelia turn this one around? W is channeled through. That's a little bit of damage reduction, but look at the muscles on this Gnar. He is flexing on her hard right now.
Yeah, I think maybe fighting the Gnar just a little bit too early after losing, after losing out on a couple of waves, I believe it was, and obviously not having completed his full item Blade of the Rune King yet. So maybe a bit early for Bobbin, but on that bot side play, that was really clean from Decade. Just able to stay alive against Killer for so long. Obviously, eventually surviving the whole play as well under tower, which is really nice for the side of his. And really well played.
Yeah, absolutely well played, and this is going to give them a huge advantage on the bot side. Interesting that Blue Sky Eagles are immediately going for the second Drake, again trying to claim this one for themselves. But Shady going in, does connect the charm, and you can see how much damage they already have with that Ahri here, Kate in the pit, and now CTC is joining in, the big carrier has arrived, Dragon is going over to VIS, Killer all alone by himself in the pit, gonna get rooted up and knocked out. It's 300 gold going the way of Cade, and overall the second Drake. VIS very, very happy.
Oh, that is the second time this game that, despite losing a play on the bot side, Blue Sky have immediately gone for the dragon afterwards and then lost that dragon.
Yeah,
I think that maybe just getting too ahead of themselves on trying to take these neutral objectives, and it's really not paying off for them in the long term.
Oh, Villains with a beautiful Realm Warp roam to the top side. Bobbin immediately rooted up. The Gnar connects, knocks him into the wall, and bashes his face in. That was great done. Great roam by Villains.
Yeah, and then this is more of what I was expecting to see. I was expecting, you know, after losing out on the bot side, that they would be looking for a play on top side, but they seem to be doing both at the same time, which I guess is kind of working out even, given that they've again got some more gold up here while losing the dragon on the other side, and that Herald is going to go down in mid lane and take I believe it was 2 plates for the Kane, which is not a bad little donation for him. I believe he's now just 600 gold ahead of Decade on the Lee Sin, so small leads for him. And in the top lane, it's a 1,500 gold lead for Na. So
that is quite massive. I mean, you want the Irelia to dominate the fights. You want the Irelia to carry, and being a kill down. Okay, you are a wave up in CS, but overall a little bit of a deficit there in the top side. It's just due to the fact that Jenkins already has 3 kills to his name. We do have some plays attempted here in the bot side. Cade already in position once again. Sonic Wave lands. It's the curtain call for Dalika. I'm stumbling over the name, Jesus. And that's an easy pickup. Dalika. So yeah, that makes it easier, I think. And they are gonna keep going here. Port comes in. That's the kick. Oh my god, look at the damage that Cade already has.
That's the Fed now. Okay. Looks like they are going to get away with it. I think Vilance got his teleport cancelled in mid lane there. He was going to join as well.
Good awareness from Shady to get in there. He did invest the ulti, but now they
Jenkins
might be able to fight this one with Vilance. And Shady coming in from the side. The Ari Charm lands on the Gnar. That's a lot of damage on the top side. And Bobbin is coming to the rescue. It's a shutdown for the Irelia. That's going to be the Blade of the Ruined King completed. TTC gets a Rune Blast to his face and is taken back to the fountain, and that's a massive shutdown going the way of Villains.
Oh, not like that. That's unfortunate. Chasing after a kill and just getting blown up by Arias.
But we're not quite done yet. There's the next fight already ready, and Bobbin is immediately claiming the first victim. 4 stacks on this Irelia. That's a lot of damage coming in from the passive, but Shady still has some aces up his sleeve. Connects the charm on Killer, and now Cade is there. Follows up with the Sonic Wave, trying to get the damage across, but this Kayn has a lot of sustain, and he has a very scary Lucian at his side. Finally completing that Gale Force on 600, so they have to back out, and overall, this is a 1-for-1. This fight has been going on for forever, man.
Yeah, it's exactly what you wanted for before the game, so careful what you wish for. But the gold drinker being complete there for the Kayn in that fight was massive. Just able to out-heal an Irelia at melee range, so that's very cool when you're able to do that.
I mean, better nerf Irelia, right?
Yeah, scrappy fights in the river here. It's hard to really digest everything that happened because it lasted for so long.
Absolutely. I mean, basically it was just multiple fights back to back, right? You re-engage once the Braum actually respawns from the initial tower dive or bot play that it was. So that just tells you how long that fight has been going overall. But if we sum this up, still both teams very, very close to each other in terms of gold. It's just about, what, 400 to 500?
It's massively closed. That 1.5k gold gap that we were talking about on top lane is now just 400. Or 500, sorry.
Yeah.
So, huge for Bobbin on the Irelia here, and he's going in again.
Yep, he's going in again. This time around, he has that Blade of the Ruined King completed, so a lot more damage. Shady waiting with open arms to accept Killer's graceful donation of 300 gold, but decides
didn't quite make it all the way to the bank.
Yep, indeed.
I believe that was a bit of an unfortunate miscommunication there. I think Decade kicked Killer out of Smilerly's mantra queue, so
unfortunate.
Didn't quite work out for them.
There's a little bit of communication you have to worry about. Jenkins now has the Mega Gnar available, but no old villains though. With the Realm Warp comes in, but Bobbin has a lot of damage. The stun connects. Can he turn this one around? He actually flashes. The duet stun lands, and it is 600 APM coming in just in the nick of time to pick up that kill.
Yeah, beautiful rotation from Vilance again with the Realm Warp. Really good punishes so far onto Bobbin, so.
But I'm impressed how well Bobbin is doing on that lane. He is almost pulling out kills on that 2v1, 3v1.
Yeah, it's so surprising, really. Like, given how far behind he was just a few minutes ago, how much he's been able to pull back and, you know, still be a huge threat in these fights. And it looks like there's going to be a fight around this top inhibitor tower, perhaps, with the Heralds.
What tower? I don't see a tower, I just see ruins. And that is an insane pickup this early into the game by the guys from the Blue Sky Eagles. And now they just need to get out of this one. Bobbin trying to follow up. Charm lands on the Gnar. That's going to be an easy pickup. Bobbin will follow up, tries to get some more as Killer re-engages. He has the drop on Shady, but he trades his Zhonya's to get away from this. The Kayn ult gonna get him deep into the enemy lines, and he is gonna pay with his life. But also Bobbin is gonna trade another kill. But there Kayn is going in together with his ADC. CTC, the curtain call doesn't quite land. It's gonna be the Ahri follow-up with the old Spirit rushing to victory right there, picking up the ace for VIS eSports.
Yeah, that was just a bit too greedy from the side of Blue Sky. They didn't have the fat wallets needed to be able to re-engage there after Jenkins got caught out and died. I think Bobbin got onto the backline with he got onto the backline and killed Valence on the rise, so
yeah. Oh, Kate, a little bit caught out here in the mid lane. Tries to get away with the wall jump. Flash after from Village though. Where's the next rune prison coming in? Oh, this time around the Q lands on the minions. He can get away, but the slow Jenkins is just so fast. The last Q is gonna land. Villains with the fastball from downtown. The Gnar follow up for Bobbin all by himself, lonely and alone in the jungle. Gonna troll as well, and that's 2 quick picks for Blue Sky Eagles. Maybe like this Jenkins is gonna be a pick here. On the other hand, though, a trade at least one back. This Gnar is a bit slippery, but can't get away from his sped up gen.
It's just small overextensions after small overextensions. You know, the Jenkins and Villains catching out both Decade and Bobo Bobbin. I can't say his name, man.
Bobbin.
Yeah, Bobbin.
It's a great name.
Well, but it's
stumble up over it, but
it's Bobbin though. That's the thing. Yeah,
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
It's the 3P.
Less excited now. Thank you. I'm less excited. I'm probably as much excited as Dalika is gonna be about that curtain call blowing him away. But hey, CTC picking up another kill. They can pressure the mid lane turret a little bit, but Foxy, we gotta talk about this non-existent inhibitor turret on the top side.
Yes. Now it has not been taken advantage of yet, but it could be pretty important in 1 minute's time when that Cloud Soul spawns for the side of VIS eSports, because obviously they're going to want to go down there and try and secure it. So I would certainly at this point want to be seeing Villains heading up to the top side. He is in this bot jungle at the moment, which is a little bit curious, but what I'm expecting here is basing now is for him to go into top lane and just start shoving that wave in, because it puts a timer onto VIS eSports' play. It looks like he's going to come down to the dragon, which is a bit of a shame.
I'd quite honestly rather see Jenkins up there, because he still has his teleport available, so you preserve your actual teamfight power by putting the Gnar in the top side, and it seems like that is gonna be
maybe
no, never mind. It's not even what Blue Sky Eagles are gonna do. They're just looking to establish some vision. Killer almost caught out.
Gone in.
Greedy follow-up here by Kate into the pit, but that's a 2v2. Charm lands on Villains, actually, and CTC over the wall. Does he have the damage? He definitely has the range almost to kill him off there in the pit. Killer going back in, but look at the shields coming in on Kate. That's Smiley putting on all the pressure. Now the curtain call. Jenkins off the wall. Massive Gnar followed up by the stun. He is turning this whole fight on its head. Beautiful plays coming in by the Blue Sky Eagles top laner, putting his team on his back and pulling this one out. Cloud Drake secured, and the Blue Sky Eagles, they are screeching their victory screech.
Oh, that was such a mistake on the side of VIS to go into the pit there. They had no way back out after getting the pick onto Villains. The charm did connect, and it was a very well executed kill, but you know, after that point, they just had nothing. Shady was just stuck in the back of the pit with no flash, and oh man, that was
It's just
real unfortunate positioning.
It's just so sad. CTC has so much gold, he has so much damage, and he is the main carry on the side of this. He was not able to get any damage in on that fight.
Yeah, as soon as he got in range, Jenkins just got over the wall and gnawed him into it. Not really much he could do, although it looks like... Are they going for Baron here?
They might go for Baron, but they possibly have to do that without Jenkins, because he is getting traded out on the bot side by Shady. And now still looking for a fight. Next charm not gonna connect, but VIS still on the Baron. That one's down to 3.5k HP. Yep, 600 APM on the side. Realm Warp comes in.
He's in
looking for the connection. He doesn't get the Q. He doesn't get the kill. Killer not quite able to steal this one, but VIS eSports gonna be very happy for the moment with the Baron picked up here.
Well, that is another odd mistake from the side of Blue Sky. Just no wards around the Baron pit. They had no idea what was going on until, you know, way too late basically to do anything about it. So,
yeah.
Well played from VIS to spot out the window of opportunity that they had. Let's see how they use this Baron buff actually, because I would like to see what would happen if they were to put Bobbin back on a side lane and back him up with Shady.
That's a little bit of what they need to do here, right? You need to have the Ahri kind of go for some roams, try to find some picks, and of course make the Irelia the split push threat that she is supposed to be. But Bobbin has a lot of damage available at the moment, and Eagles almost getting a little bit cornered there. But of course, you want to use that Baron to kind of push back, right? They were able to catch up a little bit on gold. They're gonna grab a bunch of the standing gold still up in form of these tier 1 turrets. Oh my. Actually deep. Beautiful kickback. Dalika is kicked out and maybe taken down. No, the Brawl has a little bit too much HP. But Shady from the side, gonna find the drop on 600. Gonna take him out. Bobbin on the bottom is gonna win the 1v1 against Jenkins. And CTC still alive and kicking to pull out an impressive fight here in the mid lane. Curtain Call brings Dalika low, and for now both teams backing off, but still that's a prime position to be in for VIS eSports here.
Man, that was... I'm not sure Dalika was the target that Decade wanted to get with that kick. It was very beautiful, but unfortunately that was a Braum, and it's very hard to kill Braum. So didn't quite work out as expected. Still ended up trading 2 for 1, I believe, across the map. So
yeah,
pretty nice overall. And obviously they still have the Baron buff, although that is running out in 45 seconds. So they get one more wave effectively.
Absolutely. And what they need to do here now, what I'd love this to see to do, is just get into that river. Push the pink ward line. You can see that that the Eagles have set up around that Drake pit currently. Push that back into the enemy jungle, get some deep wards in, establish vision, and prep that Drake coming up in a minute, because you want that Cloud Soul and you want that Elder Dragon on the map. And
look at the summoners as well. Bobbin has teleport. He can go top lane here, or they can... What they've done actually at the moment is send Shady top lane, because he also has teleport. If they get a deep ward in, it's so possible. It's so easy for them to just teleport behind and get a couple of kills. They are now clearing out the vision in the river. But, interesting to note, there is a pink ward behind them. So if they do decide on the side of Blue Sky to send someone up to defend against Shady.
Oh, this might be a dangerous collapse. Immediately, they jump on the AD carry. That's the illusion taken out, and with that, a majority of the damage on the side of the Eagles. Now the re-engage follows up. Killer goes down. CTC has the damage available on the Jhin. Jenkins with a beautiful Gnar ultimate can stabilize this for a second, but he's gonna be pushed out, chased down. Triple kill for CTC. 2 more members low. This is good. Jhin out for blood, looking for a kill. Is it gonna be the Penta? It's not gonna be it, because Villains has a little bit too much to say against that, but it's still gonna be the Cloud Soul and a 1-team fight. VIS eSports looking really, really good right now.
almost went a little bit too far trying to get the pentakill, but nonetheless a one fight and a Cloud Soul for the side of VIS eSports. Excellent for them, actually, especially this Ari here, that low cooldown ultimate, rather famous for being annoying if you could proc it 3 times with the Cloud Soul. But yeah, really well thought out, really well executed, and just an instant deletion onto 600 APM.
Yeah. I was gonna say we might see another one of those in just a second, but
I would be
I
would be very surprised if he decided to keep walking forward there once he saw Aurelia on the Gromp.
Absolutely. Aurelia, one of those champions who definitely don't want to meet her in a dark alley.
Oh, especially not if you're an AD carry.
Absolutely not CTC, but also someone who is very, very scared of this Lucian. And you can see the DPS A600 can't put it out, but CTC, he does have a support at his side, and those Karma shields, I'll be very honest with you, those are massive.
10 and 2 now on the Jhin as well. He's 3 items to 2 against the Lucian, or 3.5 items to 2.5 against 600 APM, so a little bit over aggressive. Maybe he ran away from the Aurelia and decided never again. But not really sure that going aggressive there was the right idea.
Yeah, that might just be the thing. I mean, it's kind of been the name of the game so far, right? A little bit too much over-aggression on both sides, more or less.
Yeah.
Kate, once again, finds a pick with the kickback on the Braum, but this time around they do actually have the damage. Yep, they do have the damage to find the kill. Shady with a face check. Gotta be a little bit more careful here, as Baron is back up and VIS are looking at it.
There are no wards in this part of the jungle and the river for the side of Blue Sky. They've placed a blue ward in the pit now, but they still really don't have a lot of vision here. It's just the wards in the pit which are getting cleared out, and are they actually going to do anything here? They're looking for the mid towers. They're trying to base race this.
Oh, Shady is gonna find the charm. That's a curtain call follow-up. They don't quite hit the spells. Baron going down to 2k HP. The no kill! Oh my god! Jenkins actually gets it with the boomerang! What a failed smite that was! VIS throwing away their advantage. They lose a tier 2 in the mid lane as well. And that just turned to the worst in a millisecond.
Okay.
Fight's not quite over though. Villains roaming around with a Realm Mob, getting them out of trouble. Cade getting flashed there on his engage attempt. And Jenkins gonna pull this fight back for the second. CTC looks to turn this one around, circle back, but Jesus.
Desperation from Cade there. He actually was the one that flashed. Jenkins just sort of pre-inputted a gnaw jump on there so that he basically jumped to the other side of him as soon as he flashed. So, oh my goodness, just getting completely denied there on the side of VIS eSports. As you said, losing a mid-tier 2 at the same time as losing Baron, that's painful. I think they thought they had it completely secured as soon as Killer died in the pit, but yeah, just a stray Narq over the wall. Yikes.
I was so sure that Baron was no way in hell going the way of the Blue Sky Eagles, but
63 health, I believe, is what it was when the Narq hit it.
I mean, that's what Birds of Prey do, right? They swoop in the last second and just grab it.
True. Yeah, you could say it was a bit of a screaming eagle.
Yeah. Quite nicely done. Quite nicely done. Jenkins overall actually fairly impressed with the Gnar so far. Of course, in that 1v1 matchup against the Aurelia, it's a little bit of a struggle for the Gnar, especially once she gets going with a few items. But overall, really good early game from him, and now popping off with that Baron steal. The ultimate's also massive in the team fight, so we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him for the rest of the series.
Yeah, and even with the loss... Oh, teleport mid.
Oh, CTC, yep, that's Jenkins once again in there. Tries to connect the boomerang. Flash after. He does have Mega Gnar already almost available, but they can't quite catch the Jhin. Smiley once again with the saving shields. And now Cade going to re-engage this. Double Gnar doesn't quite land the stun, but the follow-up is there, and that's a lot of damage Jenkins can put out.
own.
CTC also has a lot. Kate on the other side of the fight, all by himself now, being joined by Bobo Bobbin, trying to get the damage in. Vanguard's edge connects, and that's 600 immediately taken out as CTC rolls in. It's a triple kill for the Jin. He's gonna make it 4, and he is gonna make it 5 if it wasn't for his Lee Sin trading this one out and stealing away the Penta from him, but overall, VIS rolling that team fight with a clean ace.
I could see he was looking for the pentakill as soon as he got the first 2 kills of the fight, but unfortunately stolen away by Decade, but very clean fight pulled off there from the side of VIS. Only one of them going down, and yeah, wow. Again, that theme of over-aggression, Jenkins just going in completely on his own. Didn't have the tankiness to sustain against the full 5-man of, or I believe it was a 3-man at the time of VIS eSports. CTC just putting in the damage numbers. He's 15-2 now on the Jin. 6 items completed. So, bit scary to be around, to be honest.
Absolutely, and I mean that's kind of the issue I'm starting to see with the comp from Blue Sky Eagles, right? You don't have that engage once the Nard can't connect. You can't follow up. You can't outrun a Jin with the Karma speed up. So you're just hopelessly looking at the enemy run away and shoot you from the other side of the map with a curtain call.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Now we'll set up Elder Dragon.
This is an Elder Dragon. Curtain Call is going to open it up.
That's a Curtain Call going out immediately, but Smiley picked off. That's a lot of the camera mobility taken away.
Yeah, that's
and
really
this
important.
is a nightmare scenario right now for VIS. They were able to trade this whole game back to kind of turn this whole thing around.
Bobbin's
Then
going
they
up mid
lose
lane.
the
He's going to
Baron.
try and end the game. They're trying to backdoor.
Bobbin with the TP. This is going to be an intense. Oh, CTC steals the Elder back. First they lose the Baron, now they get the Elder. It's 1 for 1. It's blood for blood, and in the end, it's gonna be CTC once again putting on the massive plays. The carry pants definitely look good on him, and Bobo Bobbin looking to close this one out together with Shady. They snap back to reality. They found their way through this game. CTC even gonna execute the enemy ADC. That's gonna be it. The delayed ace, the Nexus turrets, and the game here for VIS eSports in game 1.
That wasn't even a 4th shot. He just walked up to 600 APM and one-shot him. Oh my god. Clean game.
What a matchup. Jesus, that was just game 1.
That was so good. I can't wait for more games of this. 5 games, please. 5 games.
I'd be excited. I'm not quite sure if my voice will survive it, but it's going to be absolutely worth it. Now, what a crazy matchup. I mean, beautiful early game from VIS eSports coming out, but they struggled a lot in the mid game.
Yeah, definitely. Got caught out around top side a lot. Bobbin ending the game with 8 deaths after being basically just repeat ganked every time a play happened on the bot side by Valence with the Realm Warp on Rise. So it was really well executed on the side of Blue Sky to just keep punishing the plays that VIS were making when, you know, they didn't have the members around the top side of the map. But, you know, eventually losing those dragons in the early game and then subsequently losing the soul just gave VIS map control over the whole thing. And even after losing the Baron buff to an out of nowhere steal, as well as losing a tower, they still had a gold lead, and they still had control of basically the entire map. And the other important thing is that they didn't kill the carries on the side of VIS eSports. Only 2 deaths for CTC, only 2 deaths for Shady. 17-2 the final score for CTC. It just never got shut down once they started getting rolling, and it was a very scrappy game, but eventually the wallets on the side of VIS were, as well as the comp, was going to give them an advantage.
Absolutely. Was a banger first matchup, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a few more games just as harsh as this one. But for now, we'll take a quick breather. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
echoes of pain. VIS are good, VIS are good. Cold and empty, lifeless remains. VIS are good, VIS are good. Fields of the fallen, and blood washed in rain. This cannot be all that will be. So you have torn this world apart. You came for our suffering. So we'll bleed, cut us deep, find the death that you seek. But just remember, we retreat, but we'll live on. Those that die aren't forgotten. Just remember. Gone is our home now. It's only memories. VIS are good. VIS are good. Looking onto a life that can never be. What did you believe? Believe you would find. And so you have torn this world apart. You came for our suffering without. So bleed, cut us deep, find the death that you seek. Just remember, just remember. We retreat, but we live on. Those that die aren't forgotten. Just remember. So we'll die and we'll fall here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. We are back for game 2 of VIS eSports, clutching out that first game just by a hair's width. In the end, it was CTC with the Elder Dragon Steel that secured the last fight and the advantage in this series. But for now, well, Foxy, we gotta look at Blue Sky Eagles and what they can do to come back in this one, because this series is far from over.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the big focus point or the big winning side for them was in the top lane, Jenkins against Bobbin up there, or Bobo Bobbin. I should remember he has 2 bows before the Bobbin. But yeah, no, that was the side they were getting the most advantage out of in the early game. They managed to put Bobo Bobbin very far behind on the Aurelia, although he did manage to come back with some amazing roams and obviously just really good play in the 1v1. So I would be interested to see if they take the Aurelia away from him, maybe force him on something that is a little bit more vulnerable, or give Jenkins something a bit more aggressive than the Gnar as well. So
they are gonna hit something from the lineup of the first game from VIS eSports, but it is gonna be the Karma. And
ooh.
while that is a little bit of a surprise for me, it makes perfect sense, because we have had a bunch of situations during this game where those massive Karma shields and that speed up, especially for CTC, were absolutely crucial. So
Yeah.
I'm liking this ban adjustment. We got the Jhin first pick and immediately the Jinx as an answer.
I love this Jinx pick. She was buffed, I think, on the latest patch. So she's much, much stronger at the moment when she gets into the teamfight phase of the game. And her laning phase has been given a little bit of a boost as well. Not so mana hungry on the Qs in the early game now, so able to poke a lot more in the lane, and it's a very strong pick that I think is being underutilized at the moment. So I'm interested to see what 600 APM is going to be able to do with it.
Oh, it's absolutely going to be an interesting matchup. I'm personally a big fan of Jinx, one of my more played ADCs, basically. So
and we're all getting ready for Arcane as well.
Oh, yeah, don't even get me started on that one. That's going to be amazing. Can't wait for what is it? Saturday, 2 days. It's going to be
Saturday,
great.
yeah.
But for now, we should probably focus on the junglers being picked up. I have no idea if Jarvan and Lee Sin are going to be in Arcane or Lux. Wait a second.
Wait a second.
Excuse me? Foxy,
that-
what's up with that?
Is that a Lux support?
I don't know.
That's my immediate idea as a replacement for the Karma, because she obviously she doesn't offer the same amount of move speed that the Karma can, but the pick potential on the Q combined with the, I believe it's 15 or 11 second cooldown ultimate in the late game without full items. It's just from CDR from, I believe, the second item. By that point, you have less than a quarter of a minute on your ultimate cooldown. Is just really strong. But Morgana
Absolutely.
coming out as the response is actually pretty much the perfect counter if that Lux is support. So
it's an interesting pickup, that's for sure. It gives you so much potential to just protect the Jinx, throw a black shield at her at the start of a team fight, and all the engage is basically gonna go south as we head into the second ban phase. And once again, we see a lot of top lane picks targeted against VIS eSports. They definitely
Irelia are still open.
Irelia is still open for Bobo Bobbin, but so is the Gnar on the other side. And it's Victor and Cassadine gonna be banned out for this esports.
Corki.
And that's an interesting pickup. That's interesting Corki.
So, assuming the Lux is a support pick, that's a blind pick Corki on mid lane, and then okay, VIS Esports is going to be picking up the Gnar, maybe.
Yeah, I'd like that. Take it away from Jenkins. He had a pretty good game on that.
Yeah.
Also, synergizes really, really well with a Jarvan, obviously. You follow up into that Cataclysm, you ult people into Jarvan's ult. Works really, really well, but I'm still a little bit worried about that Morgana utility coming in. There is the Yone. Finally, it comes out for VIS Esports.
This was something you were particularly excited about when we were looking at the pre-game between us. Had a little bit of an I Spy. I believe it's 8 out of the last 10 games for Shady have been Yone games in solo queue, and he's been doing pretty good on it. So,
yeah,
very, very exciting to see how this one's going to do, especially up against a champion like Corki, who's not particularly known for bullying out his lane opponents.
Absolutely. I mean, Corki has some good potential in the early game in terms of poke, just due to the range advantage, right? Yeah. But as soon as Yone gets rolling, he constantly has that shield on his W to trade properly, and he gets a lot of lifesteal because it's literally the Immortal Shield Bow as his first item that he's going to be rushing. So definitely going to be an interesting matchup to watch out here. But apart from the Yone, obviously, once again, it's confirmed now, it's gonna be Jhin Lux bot lane for VIS Esports. Walk me through this, Foxy. What is this?
So far as I'm aware, it's effectively a long-range combo. Obviously, Jhin has been utilized a lot more recently, and we saw in the previous game as well, with starting off a team fight with his ultimate. Using it to slow a target so that the rest of the team can engage onto them without necessarily doing a whole lot of damage himself. And the thing with Lux is that her Q, despite being relatively difficult to land, if it does land, you can effectively guarantee a pretty huge chunk of damage onto any individual squishy target that you catch. So I would not be too surprised to find that towards the mid and late game, we see Curtain Call coming up, or trying to go for a squishy target, and then perhaps a Flash Lux Q, or just a Lux Q from range, or maybe even a Yone ultimate on top with a Lux E to follow up instead, to just kind of pile this sort of damage with no response onto a single target at the start of a fight. And the other thing for this combo in particular is the early game. Lux is a champion that is pretty darn good at being annoying for any low mobility AD carries in the early game, like say, I don't know, Jinx, who struggles a lot to get out of the E, which I keep forgetting the name of, but I just know it's the big swirly thing that's really annoying to get out of when she tries to hit you with it.
If you keep going for another 30 seconds, I could tell you the spell name, but no, you definitely have a point. Lux Jhin definitely going to be very annoying in terms of poke damage on the lane. On the other side, though, you have a Morgana and a Jinx, and that is a devastating CC setup you can throw at someone. Dark Binding into the Flame Chompers with the Rocket Launcher. Jinx has a little bit of a range advantage and a lot of damage to dish out, so overall, I'm a little bit worried for the bot side of VIS eSports, especially if you put in Lee Sin, killer, playing that one in the jungle. One of the junglers that has a decent pressure in the early game.
Yeah, and it's also, if this Jinx can survive the laning phase, if they're not super aggressive, or if they just don't get caught out by this Lux combo, or they just never get ganked, then Jinx is a champion, especially with a Morgana shield, that can completely negate the whole idea behind this Jhin Lux combo, right? They like to keep at range, they like to fight you before you have any kind of response, and Jinx, if she gets an assist or a kill in a team fight at the moment, has a way of making it so that your range advantage disappears very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of the advantages you want to preserve, right? If you have a range advantage, that's something you want to play around, and once you lose that, usually you have that range advantage for a reason, because you're not really good in the direct confrontations that are a little bit closer to your character, but who knows?
It should also be noted that Corki package is really important for this game for disrupting the curtain call if they try to begin fights with it while package is up. Can be a really good way for Jhin to mark out his own position for Corki to jump onto. So they do have to be careful.
I mean, we saw Villain's last game already. He has a pretty good eye for roam timings and engage timings. His realm warps on the rise were pretty spot on, especially for the side lane gangs. So I'm excited to see him perform. But overall, this whole setup, this whole comp, it's on both sides fairly focused on not doing too much in the early game, because they all have characters that are more or less scaling. Jhin gets great in the late game. Yone gets some items and is popping off like crazy. Lilia, Corki, Jinx, all in that register of power scaling champions. So probably
and I will say
right?
The biggest place to watch, I think, here would be the top lane, I would expect, because that Lilia is kind of vulnerable in the early game. Yep, I'm at 10.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Starting it off right away, and that's a top lane Lilia. That's something we haven't even talked about yet, because I didn't realize it until just a moment ago.
It kind of baits you with the Nightbringer skin on the loading screen. It makes you think it's a completely different champion. But no, it is a Lilia.
I'm just not used to seeing Lilia anywhere outside of the jungle. I mean, it's a fawn. It's not a lane creature. It's a jungle creature. Or forest in this case.
I'm so interested to see how this matchup is going to work top lane, because Gnar obviously has a slow on the initial part of his Q, the boomerang. So if Bobbin is able to hit that onto Jenkins, is Jenkins actually just going to not be able to do anything? Or what's going to happen there?
I'll be very honest with you. I'm not a Lilia player, so I have not too much of an idea, but as we mentioned, it's going to be a fairly slow early game start. We don't have any deep wards on either side going on, but both junglers starting top side, and Smiley and CTC Looking for some early...
Yeah, CTC started Doran's Blade for this game, just by the way. He started the Longsword and 3 potions for last game, so perhaps anticipating a little bit more in terms of poke and brawling as the Q does land. A little bit of damage coming out. Perhaps first blood. Oh!
There's a lot of damage going on. I think I'm a little bit behind you. Flash invested from 600. He gets away with his life, but that's a very unhappy Jinx. Both summoners expanded and nothing to show for. It's a Jinx forced out of lane. And she's already back in base.
What is your timing right now? Because then I can sync up with you.
No, you just tell me where you are at.
Oh, I'm at 220 at the moment.
Okay.
Oh my god! While I was looking at the time, first blood happened in top lane.
There you go.
And second blood in bot lane.
Yep, CTC with a beautiful flash follow-up, and that was the Lux Binding landing, if I'm not completely mistaken. Sorry for the little shenanigans with the timer here, guys, but we'll get that sorted just in a second. British, would you count us through for a second?
I guess not.
He's just muted.
Technical difficulties.
We'll just keep at it for the second. Should be fine.
Exactly.
CTC actually gets the cannon minion with that one. I thought he would miss that. Anyway, yeah, he has advantage on the bot side. That Jhin starting off nicely with the kill as well. Jarvan picking up a kill as well with the help of Bobbin. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh boy! But look at this trading potential from Jenkins.
Yeah, that's nice and spicy. A little bit difficult for Bobbin to do much against it, to be honest. And one thing to note that it's a play in the bot lane.
Some plays in the mid lane. The jungle does not quite connect the flag and drag, so 600 for the moment can just walk away from this. But Cade, he really wants to just dish out more damage, and Smiley just in the nick of time comes in with the shield. Should be fine on the bot side, but that's a very aggressive push from Cade there.
Yeah, definitely. And top lane, I think we might still be a little bit out of sync here, but...
Yep, Jenkins barely getting away with the movement speed from the Lilia here. Bobbin decently underway with the trades, but the Mega Gnar... You mentioned the slow on the Boomerang, right? You don't have that on the normal Gnar. On the Mega Gnar, sorry, on the Q, you just have a bunch of damage, so you can't really follow that up. So top lane matchup still stays close as heck. Let's pause just real quickly at 440, then we should be sync and all good.
And the good old client lag, 440 now.
440 no. There you go. That one's sorted.
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't hinting on the production side of things. Sorry for that one, guys. We'll
that's right.
We'll make sure we have this one in the bags here for now. CTC still looking for some trades on the bot lane, but overall that Jhin very happy. Doran's Blade start definitely paying off, and we mentioned a little bit of a slow early game. 2 kills already on the side of VIS eSports, and that's definitely something that can catapult you towards a good snowball opportunity in the early mid game.
Yeah, well, I mean, for the bot lane especially, it's been capitalizing on the mistakes of Blue Sky. There was that level 1 trade that effectively put Jinx out of the lane, which is never a nice position to be in when you're playing that Jinx, and it's just allowed them to keep control. Oh, that's...
Yeah, this time it's Cade going for the early Drake, but Killer gets rooted up. No flag and drag. Follow-up flash. Smiley doesn't land the root, and CTC from the bot side is going to be pincered now.
It's trapped in river.
They don't find the follow-up quite there. Killer has to pull out. The Drake is stopped, but it's a kill traded back just because Cade was a little over-eager on that dragon. And that's the same mistake we saw come out from Blue Sky Eagles early last game.
Yeah, but the difference between this game and the first game is that when Blue Sky Eagles made that mistake and got punished for it, VIS eSports were able to immediately pick up the Drake. Whereas this time, when it's the other way around, the Drake is still up. So VIS haven't been punished quite as heavily for the misplay as Blue Sky were last game, but obviously they still lost out.
Absolutely.
Looks like they might be going for something mid.
Nice sidestep. Has the W after another sidestep on the Yon knockup. The ult dodged as well. Dancing shoes on that Corki, but they still get his flash.
Very nice. Yeah, good use of the flash there, actually trying to wait with it as long as possible. He knew he didn't actually have to use it unless Shady used his ultimate, which I keep forgetting the name of the new stuff. Fate Sealed, that's the one. Yeah, knew he didn't have to use the flash until then. Used it respectfully. Well played to him to get out of it. He has just got a cull, or he's had a cull from the start of the game. So he is just farming up, slowly getting a gold advantage here in the mid lane.
And that's
just
kind of
the
the
item and CSing.
Yeah, that's kind of the range advantage we were talking on about in Champ Select, right? The Corki can bully the Yon on the first few levels, but the matchup is going to get harder and harder from here on out because Shady has some levels in his spells, has some items under his belt, has some more sustain, has that refillable potion. So Corki also a little bit slow underway in terms of just the scaling items. You pick up an early tier, you pick up the Cull. Of course, combat stats still fairly decent on the Cull, but of course you want to get that Mura mana rolling as soon as possible. So you pick up that tier early and you just trade a lot of straight up fighting power. But still, Villains looking for some plays towards top side. Maybe the two-man gang squad rolling towards the top. That's a sleep landing on Bobo Bobbin as well. Are they actually going to go for the dive? Not quite. They did pull off the play because Killer went to do the Herald because they had to answer. The Cloud Drake started up on the bot side by Kate. Beautiful answer. Cross-map objective pickup here for VIS eSports. And a great job from Bobo Bobbin to evade that dive, that gank on top side. That's gonna be huge to come in for him to not have died there. Expended his flash, but that's fine. He still has his TP ready and is still in lane, so he can keep farming. Absolutely fantastic. And on the bot side, well, Drake picked up. Not too much happening after that one, though.
A bit chill.
Yep, bit chill.
A little bit more of what we were expecting, so...
You know, nice
nice
and
to
cozy, like fresh laundry.
You don't say. No, but nice to know that our prediction was correct as well, the second game, because
Yeah,
it's always a good feeling when you get it right.
absolutely. Shady being a little bit cheeky with the wall over the wall, with the ward over the wall.
Yes.
English is a difficult language, but what is not difficult is diving a Jinx on the bot side. There's the curtain call coming in from downtown. Lots of damage going in. Actually, at the very edge of the spell. Oh my god, the reverse direction combo. The drag, then the flag.
How
it's
close
still gonna be the
is finally to level 6?
kill for Cade. Damn. 1-for-1 trade on the bot side.
Yeah, that was so close to being 2 kills there, but I believe...
Villains though has the package,
Oh
has the
my
damage.
goodness.
Oh, picks up the solo kill.
That's beautiful.
Easy for the Corki.
That's exactly what you want to be doing on this Corki. I wasn't expecting him to be able to do it, but generally against a champion like Yone, you never want to give him any room to breathe, and Villains is doing just that, just keeping him constantly under pressure, and picks up a kill now. But for that bot lane play, I think it was Decade. Could have got both kills, but slightly messed up with his a flashy Q there. And it looks like there's a fight in the bot lane again.
Killer does connect the jump, but doesn't quite get the kick out, and the return damage. Oh, beautiful Lux ult. There's Shade. The follow up, the ult, the double kill coming in. Actually, CTC picking up one of those, but Such a perfectly timed answer from Shady there on the teleport, pulls the trigger and gets rewarded massively.
Yeah, they were just a little bit too greedy. It's similar themes coming out again in the second game, but they didn't pick up the kill immediately onto CTC, and it was just a little bit too much to ask to keep going there. Good punish coming in from Shady, very well teleported, and obviously Smiley with that beautiful ultimate across Delica and Killer was enough to pretty much serve them up for CTC and Shady.
Absolutely, and I mean, the teleport is so crucial to come in for the Yone there. It's gonna bring him back in this matchup. Jenkins flashing away from the gank, not quite connecting. Killer there to help out as well. That is the flash invested on the Lilia, so basically everything they wanted out of this gank.
Yeah, getting that resource is really nice. They also got the sleep on cooldown, so...
Okay.
Oh, he is top lane.
Yeah, good roam from Villains once again. This is the 2v3. Herald popped as well. Cataclysm invested from K, trying to turn this one around. Jenkins is dropping fairly low, but that's a Jarvan all by himself. Gonna get the kill over on Lee Sin. Villains, well,
just misses
cool
the
guys
rocket.
don't look at explosions, but you gotta hit the rocket if you do that.
Yeah, just millimeters wide. Millimeters. But that was...
I'll
losing
give
the
him
flash for that.
I'll give him some style points as
It
well.
was definitely style points. Yeah, did it for the style points indeed. But unfortunately, he didn't get the kill for it. As are we gonna see? No. Okay, we're fine. I thought for a moment that Smiley may have gone for something under the tower against 600 APM because Shady was on the way down, but
Yep.
instead just gonna steal the blue buff.
That's a happy Yone.
Very nice. Are we gonna see
Trying to
Dark
punish him a
Guardian?
little bit
Yeah.
for his audacity, but they're not gonna get across more than a little bit of damage. But now
But it's
Villains
buying time
pushed
for
up
Corki in
quite-
mid.
Quite far.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was able to
absolutely,
get a... I believe he was able to get the plate because of the binding that came down. Oh, another binding connects, but a double root.
Oh, there's the current call. You spoke about the combo. There's the slow. There's the double. All the looks damage is coming in. Dalika gets out barely, but Kate running into the jungle is gonna find the Morgana all by herself. Didn't quite manage to catch up to her though, so the support gets away with a sliver of health. Okay,
Oh, that was
gotta
so
talk about
close.
some luck here.
That was the combo I was more referring to. You know, just... It doesn't matter that you're over a wall and half the map away. They can still kill you if you're not careful. So they are so close to getting 2 kills out of that even.
And that's not even
would have been
any
devastating.
real AP on the Lux, right? This is only gonna
Yeah,
get worse as
exactly.
the game goes on.
She currently has 92 AP without any completed items, basically. She's
Yeah,
just...
put like 500 or
an
600
Amptum
on
and a
top of
Dark
that,
Seal.
and you have a late game build.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Death Rocket
Although, might be
thrown
caught
in
here.
to stop the backport. Smiley trying to get out. The binding gonna land beautifully. Killer
Ooh.
just connects the Sonic Wave. The Black Shield is gonna come out. Can't
Too
quite
far.
get in range though to follow up there.
Yeah, just a little bit too far. And look at this. Smiley has R again. So,
Nice.
you know, if they stick around too much, overextend, walk into maybe a Lux Q or something like that.
Yeah,
could go
CTC
pretty
is
wrong
there
for
as well. Not quite
Oh.
the curtain call ready, but
Just throwing it out.
Just
That's
throwing
a
it out there. Exactly.
pretty low
All the
jinx.
root lands. Dark Harvest damage is there, but Villains on the
Villains is
backside
here with the
arrived with the
package.
package. He has a delivery to drop off on the bot lane, and it might be
They have
pain
teleports.
that is in this package. Smiley dropping fairly low, no mana. Culling
my.
is not in this game, but the package gonna find a kill.
Two.
Immediately one trade back. 2 for 1 actually.
Oh
on the
my
bot side here.
goodness. I don't know if you saw the damage coming out there, but I believe it Smiley threw a Luxie in the path that Corki package was going to land, and that combined with both a Jin W that accidentally hit him.
Oh, Bobbin, little bit too eager.
Okay.
He had the Mega Gnar almost available, didn't quite come out. He was banking on that extra health. This,
Yeah.
Gets kicked in the face, as Lee Sin does. Not a nice feeling.
Yeah. bit unfortunate for him, but man, that ball play was wow.
spicy.
Villains just basically got bursted 100-0 as soon as he
Oh
used
no,
the drag.
Kate gets rooted up in his flag and drag. Shady trying to go in for some counter engage, but Jenkins pulls the trigger on the teleport. They're trying to follow this one up. Beautiful flash from the Lydia. The sleep is gonna land on the Lux underneath the tower. Can they follow up the damage? Ooh, okay. Lots of poke coming in from the Jinx and the Corki, but they're not quite through this one. Smiley. Oh, come on, villains. You can't miss the rocket on top side and then pull this one out of the hat.
Oh my
Was just rebooting his
goodness.
aimbot, I think. Jesus.
Just instantly cancels the Lux ultimate. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that is the only way that you can cancel it. But I didn't expect to see it, as it looks like Bobbin may be caught out here in the top side as well.
A little bit by himself. He
Bouncing
almost
in and
has the
out.
Mega now. That would be a
Yeah.
perfect opportunity to go for a multi-man ultimate.
He has Mega
He's
now.
trying to go for the play. 3-man
Oh my
Gnar.
goodness.
The damage is in there, but he doesn't have a team.
He's alone.
The team is not there to follow up. Massive communication mistakes coming in from VIS here.
Oh,
Too eager killer finds the kick back into the flame chompers, but the 4-man ultimate from Shady cuts through the enemy lines like butter with a hot knife. The
Chin
curtain
combo.
call Lux combo claims another victim, and with villains chunked out, this is just the perfect opportunity for VIS to claim a top tier 1 turret.
Yeah, finally managing to pull off kill onto Killer there with the Lux Jin combo, but man, that was a bit
was wild.
ambitious from Bobbin. I will say in retrospect. But
It's a lot of wild plays coming out back to back here.
very, very wild. I do like the instant or the constant aggression though, both teams being so ready to just, you know, believe that someone is out of position or they can get a really good angle and just go for it. It was a very beautiful engage from the side of Bobbin,
Absolutely.
and provided that there was follow-up, that would have absolutely been a huge turning point in the game, but obviously...
I mean, you know, the difference between inting and playing properly is just the follow-up your team provides, right?
yeah, exactly. You know, if you... I don't know how close Smiley was. I would assume that he wasn't in range to do a max range Lux ultimate on top of them. But, you know, if he was, and that had been able to come down, that would have probably been at least 2 kills there immediately.
Might have just been the case. That was a beautiful Gnar engage, and that's the engages that net you so much, and that's definitely was what VIS eSports need in this game, right? It's the picks they are building their whole comp around.
And the outcome itself has resulted in CTC being an item up over 600 APM. Obviously, it's not that alone, it's other players as well, but he was able to pick up the shutdown onto Killer and spend that gold. So
We got the Drake started up immediately,
has gone
picked
over.
up at the third Drake coming in, but the damage on the Lux, so much CC, the root just lasts forever. And it's gonna be
Cataclysm
support
just to
dropping.
disengage.
Kate killed off as well, 2 kills picked up in trade for that third Mountain Drake, so equal? Question mark?
I would say that it is still worth for the side of VIS there. You know, getting to Soul Point is such a big thing in these games, and maybe they go for Nash here. I believe Villain still has the package up.
That's a bold Baron call. You have some decent damage on the Jinx with the Kraken Slayer.
Well, they
but
have a
overall,
5-1
you
Corki
are-
and a 5v4.
Yeah, it's just a 5v4, right? But actually can turn into a 5v5 in just a second. Package actually invested. The curtain call comes out. They're trying to snipe Killer out
Killer's
of the
so
pit.
low.
Where's the Luxel? He gets the jump,
He's dead.
but it is with Shady's help. They follow this one up. Morgana rooted out.
gonna get the
flag.
Nash.
It's not quite enough, and Nasher so low that VIS eSports can just take it slow, take it safe, and drag this one down for themselves. But it's still
has respawned,
Jenkins
they've got
in the
the smite.
wings. Can Jenkins do it once again? He's done it last game. 20 HP. Baron goes over to VIS. Bobo
was
Bobbin
a
finds the
beautiful
beautiful Gnar
follow-up from
engage. It's a
Bobbin.
double kill and the team fight win for VIS. Talk about worth.
That was so worth for them. Just a little bit, maybe a little bit too over eager to go for the Nash there off of the pick. I think they were maybe too slow to start it up in order to deny VIS from being able to get in and start trying to poke them down and deal damage. Still not completely game ending, but obviously very costly for them. And obviously for the side of VIS,
I'd almost
pretty
go as
poggers.
far. I'd go almost go as far and say that was the game just now. They are suddenly almost 5k gold ahead. They got 3 Drakes, so you got the Mountain Soul fight coming up in 3 minutes.
The trouble
and that's
with
not
that,
3 minutes where you can come back, right?
the trouble with that is the fight was a little bit skewed. Killer was already low before they started the Baron, and was obviously tanking in the back of the pit for a little while trying to avoid Jinx ultimates. And also, Villains used his package, because I think it was running out, on the Baron itself. So if there's a slightly different situation where Villains is able to use his package on to the backline of VIS, or if Killer is not so low that he has to be body blocked by a Corki, then I think it's still entirely possible for Blue Sky to take it back. I think obviously it was just a bit of a mistake in the call, but it's. I don't think the game's anywhere near over, as they're doing a pick on bot lane. Megadar is up.
Meganar is up. He has that bonus elf to bank on, at least for a bit. And Villains can't quite find the follow-up, the range and the damage to take out the Gnar. And in the meantime, that's going to be a mid-tier 3 dropping down. Base in shambles, top tier 2 taken out as well. Bobbin returns with a vengeance to claim that top tier, that bot side tier 2, and it's so much standing gold. The long range damage comes in, but he immediately won't trade it back. Kate going in, curtain call, 3rd shot hits, 4th shots, lots of damage on Killer, and CTC going in for the fight, but Villains is dangerous. You gotta watch out with that Corki. Kate going for the dive, flashing out, gets taken down anyway. Shady going in for the fight, gets taken out by the Corki though, and in the bot side, Bobbin is all by himself, finishing off this turret. Now CTC caught between a rock and a hard place in this case. Lilia's hooves, he's gonna get trampled. It's a shutdown going over to the top laner, and once again, VIS eSports in shambles, but they did get a bunch of turrets.
Yeah, a lot of standing gold went over to them, but that's a 7-1 Corki now. He's sitting pretty nicely on top of those 3 items there, and that was again the same mistake that we've seen from both teams so far in the series, is just that little bit of overconfidence when you just think you can do everything at once. VIS are obviously gonna not be super punished for it. They're still gonna have control of the map because of how much time they had beforehand to put wards down in the enemy jungle and obviously deny all of that vision. Blue Sky having to push together as a unit down here to regain any semblance of control for this Mountain Soul, but huge loss for VIS in terms of just pure gold over to the side of Villains.
Absolutely, you don't want to give up these big shutdowns. Curtain call gonna come in. Oh, the flag and drag, the dragon steal. That's a Mountain Soul picked up by Kate for his team. Big shield comes in, but the Jarvan is gonna drop anyway. And you can see how much damage the long range from VIS is gonna do. Once again, Bobbin trying to take down the mid lane all by himself. CTC roaming upwards. You can't even base in this stage. You must run back, otherwise Lux is gonna find and punish you. And overall, it's a absolute disaster right here for Blue Sky Eagles.
That is when you type #worth into the ult chat in solo queue for the side of Decade. Very nice steal coming out. And on top of it,
while you still can, by the way.
Not only did he steal, he also put 4 of them or 5 of them in a cataclysm. So they can't even chase after the rest of the team or try and get something back. They can only get him, and just really well played overall. And bit unfortunate that Bobbin didn't have enough damage to take the inhib down himself, but it was still extremely well played from the side of his.
And this kind of shows to me why VIS eSports has been so dominant in this lower bracket so far, right? They have comps that absolutely work. They know what to do with the Jhin when they can pair it with the Karma. They have really great team fighting. CTC obviously super, super comfortable on this champ. But also when the Karma is banned out, when it's taken away, they bring out the Lux of all champions. It's one of those picks you haven't seen in ages. Sure, she was buffed last patch, but no one would expect the Lux support to come in and be so absolutely devastating. But maybe this sleep is gonna be the gate back into the game. Never mind, it's not gonna be. Cataclysm in the backside is gonna get flashed. Killer trying to trade one back here with his Sin, doesn't get it. The curtain call gonna seal the deal. That's a Corki down. That's an 80 carry dropping dead. Gets a house thrown at his head. Dalika gonna get deleted. It's a triple kill for Bobo Bobbin. It is the ace for VIS eSports, and they bring this series up to match point 2 games in a row.
Oh, what a fight from the side of VIS eSports. Killer didn't have any damage on his own and was completely unable to get the kick onto CTC and to put him back into his own backline, and just really well played. Didn't have the damage on the side of Blue Sky, and I believe it was Villains got caught out there by Dickhate's flag and drag, and well, that was it. Just one fight, and that's it.
Was a beautiful fight. You give VIS eSports a finger, and they take your whole arm and half of your respiratory system with it anyway. It's a really, really uncomfortable situation to be in, and we gotta look towards that Lux Jhin bot lane, especially CTC's Jhin, I think, overall, because that has been a huge issue in both games. Now, they tried the Jinx Morgana. They got chunked out early because I think the idea was good, the execution not. So that is something that the Blue Sky Eagles definitely need to work on for the next game.
Yeah, that level 1 where 600 APM basically got put out of the lane before the minions even arrived was devastating for their hopes in the mid game as a whole, and Villains almost had enough gold on his own to carry it back for the team, but basically had to play 1v9, wasn't quite enough.
Now, Villains had a fantastic game on the Corki. He's definitely one of the bright lights of hope on the sides of the Blue Sky Eagles. Also, Jenkins, once again, absolutely decent game on that top lane Lilia, but didn't quite manage to pull this one out. But we have more games. We have at least one more game to finish this series off if VIS eSports is managing to take this 1-3-0. But I sure do hope that the Blue Sky Eagles find their way back in. We'll head to a quick break, just a few minutes, and then we'll be right back with more action for you guys. So don't go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is gonna be match point coming in for VIS eSports. They're about to take this whole thing to the bank and score themselves a ticket to the grand finals, a rematch against their old nemesis, the team that brought them down to the lower bracket in the first place. They are gonna match up against Eclipse Solar there, but of course, they first have to go through the Blue Sky Eagles, who also have an open bill with the guys from Eclipse Solar, because they also were knocked down to the lower bracket by them. Little interesting fact there for you as we head into the pick ban. On my side, still Foxy himself. Talk to me about this MF ban and where the Jin ban is going to be.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised that it's an MF ban. There's the Jin ban. I was expecting it more to be an Jin ban instead of an MF ban, but both is also fine. Really good to see that it actually comes out, because we were saying last game that CTC has been pretty damn good on the Jin. Two deaths in both games, I think it was, and both games ended with the most kills on the team, I believe. So having a lot of impact on that champion and taking it away from him is pretty good idea. But this is not what I expected. I'm not expecting this Pantheon to be locked in. That's being hovered.
Let's see if that actually happens. But for the moment, we got to talk about the fact that they finally, the Blue Sky Eagles finally went for the blue side. So it's in the name.
Oh,
it's in the
that's
game
true.
as well, and maybe they can pull out the first win this series here.
Well, the trouble is, if blue side for Blue Sky means that they win every time, then they might struggle in the next game if they win this one, because
maybe
obviously VIS would get side selection if they win. But Renekton, though, this is a strange draft so far.
That's an interesting pickup. So where do you think that Pantheon actually is going to go? Do you think that's a top lane Pantheon?
So it could honestly be, it's in my eyes, it's either top or mid, right? I think he's a very aggressive laner, obviously, but he's very reliant on being aggressive. And Jenkins, so far in the series, has been the one that's been quite aggressive in the lane for the side of Blue Sky. Although Valence has, of course, also been very punishing to play against. So maybe it's for him, maybe it's for Jenkins, but I'm not expecting it in bot lane, because they've picked up Ezreal now, and presumably if Ezreal is going bot lane for the side of Blue Sky here, they want something else that is a similar theme of staying safe in the early game, so that they maybe don't get level 1'd like they did in the previous game. But Senna coming out as the counter pick, I'm really confused by the draft so far from VIS eSports, because
it's interesting for sure. I mean, the Renekton on the top side is going to give you a lot of early pressure. Renekton, one of the lane bullies, and I'm starting to not feel that Pantheon top side, right? I'm really thinking it's a little bit more of a mid lane Pantheon. So the Corki ban now coming in, you got to respect that. Villains had a really great game on that one last time around, but it's still, I don't know, you're expecting kind of the Pantheon mid banning out the Corki seems a little bit of a waste. Follow up that with the Karma and the Victor.
Is this Senna Amumu bot lane? Because that's also a combo that's been around. But I'm just thinking, Pantheon here could, if that's not an Amumu bot lane, that could also be a Pantheon that gets flexed to bot lane anyway, even though he doesn't usually go with an Ezreal, just because Senna is extremely vulnerable early on to champions that can point and click flash on you and ignite you. She has one of the lowest health pools in the game in terms of scaling up through the levels. So it could be interesting if they flex that or not. Both of these drafts are still kind of open-ended, although the Rakan is going to confirm that that's not an Amumu bot lane.
That is indeed an Amumu jungle. It's going to be an interesting thing to see. Heather with an aggressive engage Rakan, a Renekton that's just going to dive after him and wreak havoc in the most literal sense of the word. And they also secure themselves the counter pick for the mid lane. And with the Leona picked up, a little bit of a tanky addition to that Kayn Pantheon frontline. I'm really curious what the top laner is going to be in this lineup.
What is
that?
this
Is very AD damage heavy.
Really AD damage heavy. Cassiopeia. So this is still a flex. Like, you don't actually know whether Pantheon's going top or mid.
Just put the Ezreal in the mid, Kayn support, Leona AD carry. We don't care anymore.
You could actually take Cassiopeia bot lane, though. That's the thing.
Oh, absolutely, you could.
Cassiopeia bot lane for the Ezreal mid. So there's so many possibilities here for Blue Sky.
Yeah, and that also makes the mid lane counter pick a little bit tricky, right? They do decide on the LeBlanc, but are you quite sure what you're going to measure up against? No, you're not. Until the last moment. And now we got the swaps coming in.
I don't know. LeBlanc into Cassio. I could have sworn that there was... I've spoken to a couple of LeBlanc mains that are not a huge fan of the matchup into Cassio. Because it's a bit of a pain when you, like... You're trying to jump away from something, because obviously a lot of her safety comes from that W, and you just kind of can't. So I'd be interested to see if there was any sort of early game ganks coming in on top of the LeBlanc to try and shut her down, because while she is a very powerful champion in the mid to late game in terms of her mobility and obviously her sort of poke / assassination damage with the weird playstyle that she has, early game, she is vulnerable.
Absolutely.
You can take her down, and Cassie, if she gets a W down and LeBlanc's not able to dash, then that's a bit of a problem for her.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, especially with Killer on the Kayn. We saw him play that in game 1 already, and he had, I'd say, a decent performance. A little bit prone to over-aggression, but that's kind of the general play style that Blue Sky Eagles have shown throughout both games so far, that they are just very aggressive, very willing to take fights and go in, even if it's not exactly the best setup for them. So I'm really curious how this one is going to play out, and you're definitely right that the LeBlanc is going to be an interesting focus point, because if you can shut her down early on, her impact in the mid game is going to drop off dramatically.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also going to be interesting to see how CTC in particular plays this Senna as well, because we've obviously seen him on Jhin both games so far, has played extremely well, but Senna's probably the most similar pick you can have to Jhin in terms of AD carries, but it's still a very different level of survivability that you have in the mid to late game, especially if there's a Pantheon there with the good old Flash W, Boogaloo. And it just seems like they've picked a lot more engage for the side of Blue Sky, which is really what I wanted to see after those first couple of games.
Yeah, the engage is pretty nice. I mean, that was kind of what they were lacking last game as well, right? Of course, they went for a little bit more of a longer-ish range poke or catch comp with the Morgana, with the Jinx. But overall, game 1 definitely lacked the engage the Gnar wasn't able to provide. So the Leona, nice to see that she comes in here in the Pantheon. I mean, you can do some pretty aggressive stuff with a Grand Starfall. But I'm really curious how that top lane matchup is going to measure up, because Renekton is such a lane bully in the early game.
But Renekton's also really different to what has been played so far in that top lane. We saw Irelia, was it Irelia Gnar game 1 and then Gnar versus Lilia game 2? So both relatively, there's still potential for action there, but both champions wanted to sort of avoid direct conflict in both games without, jungle attention to assist. But Renekton is not that. And Pantheon isn't either. They both want to be going straight into each other's faces and slapping each other to death. So I would not be surprised if First Blood is one of these two.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you. I still like the Renekton pick. It's a beefy frontliner that you can just send in with that Mumu. You have a lot of AoE damage with the Kolomig as well. And especially the early game ganks are going to be fairly devastating because of the Ruthless Predator stun window being so long that a Mumu 100% can land the first Q. Then he's in and can land the second one as well. You don't even get away from the gank. So it's basically just, 5 seconds of straight stun on the enemy. And that's a really, really devastating setup that they have going for themselves.
Well, I do know.
Difficult for Jenkins.
I do know that it is my job to look at the draft, etc. But I didn't see. Was Jax banned in this draft? Because I don't think he was. Because Renekton was first pick on red side, right? I feel like that would have been a much better pickup into the Pantheon. But Renekton obviously is still strong here, so I would like to see what Bobbin is able to do with it.
Well, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see. Bobbin it had a pretty good series so far, I'd say.
Yeah, Jax was not banned. So yeah, he has had a pretty good series so far. Got knocked down early on in the first game, but the second half of that first game was very strong from him, and likewise in game 2 he was very strong. So perhaps he will continue that, or perhaps Jenkins will get a good little Leroy impression and do some charging, as there is a pause.
Yep. We wanted to pause at 10, but we'll pause at 6. We'll be fine with that. I kind of think that takes away the necessity for us to pause in the first place. But yeah, a little bit of a tech pause going on for just a second. Mid laner on. I
don't know how the mandatory pause bug is going to work.
Oh, it's just gonna come in, pause the game for us, and then keep going anyway.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry too much.
Syncing up at... oh, right.
We are on to the Rift. It's gonna be game 3, and with that, already a match point for VIS eSports. They're looking to take this one for themselves and book a ticket to the grand finals. 5-point defense for both teams. No early game shenanigans, so we're looking at fairly standard early game.
Not this time, and double tier picked up as starting items for the side of Blue Sky, Cassiopeia and Ezreal, the 2 culprits of the crying items. And it's certainly interesting to see it picked up on Cassiopeia here in the mid lane. I was expecting something a little bit more aggressive to come out. To maybe try and mess up the LeBlanc in the early game. I'm just going to double check with you because I did accidentally pause because I didn't see the chat message. What your timer is at the moment?
We're 25, waiting for camps to spawn. 7, 8.
Yeah. Okay, I am synced up then.
Perfect.
Big
That's
brain.
what you love to hear. Synced up. Already at the red buff, both junglers actually starting on the same side of the map, so it's definitely moving towards that top side of the jungle of the map in the early game, and as mentioned, maybe a bloodbath on the top side.
Yeah, and some early trading coming down in the mid lane, although not a whole lot of damage coming up from either side, so positives and negatives. And in top lane, it's more of a staring contest at the moment. They're both sort of walking in, tapping a minion, walking back out again. So it's only a matter of time. But very, very back and forth up there so far.
Yeah, and clear speed wise, I think the Kayn a little bit faster underway the Amumu, even though Decade on that Amumu is decently fast. Well, actually,
yeah.
A second or 2 ahead here, going into the Raptor camp, but it doesn't matter too much, I think, because there is just a Wolf camp, not a Raptor camp, on the side of Killer. So we're looking at buffs, looking at Scuttle, and then maybe a topside skirmish. What do you think?
Possibly, yes. Did I miss the part where Leona flashed?
I don't know. I missed that as well for some reason.
That client bug? Or did that happen on screen and we just didn't see it? I don't remember it. Fighting in the top side. Yeah, both just use their stuns on each other and walk away. Not a surprise. As a gank in the mid lane.
Flash gank in the mid lane. There's the chain connecting. There's the damage underneath the turret. There, Mumu coming up huge here in the early game of match point, and VIS eSports already back off to a great start. Jenkins going in for the flash. Bobbin has the stun, has the call the meek for a little bit of heal in the river. It is Killer with the Kane trying to follow up. Does flash for Cade and finds the solo kill on his opponent in the jungle. Gonna pick up the double buff and 300 gold. Overall, 1-for-1 across the map. Very, very happy times here for the guys over on Blue Sky Eagles.
Oh, another pause. Let's go. Just players just double checking that we're really, really synced up for this one. No, I believe the actual problem was
a little bit of
Jenkins
lag
with a lot of
issue
ping.
on the top side here.
Yes. Renekton, or Bobbin currently experiencing the joy of hearing a permanent teleport sound
Oh, it's fantastic.
in his headset. I'm sure he's enjoying that for the duration of the pause. And
But let's
that's
talk a bit about the first few kills that came in here, right?
Yeah.
We talked about the LeBlanc, how important it is to shut her down early on, and now it's exactly the other way around. You have a Tome Star, you have a Tier Star on the Casio, and it got turned on her head. She gets taken out. First kill on the LeBlanc, and Shady now basically has free reign in the mid lane.
Yeah, and it was a really good gank from Decade as well. Just a flash Q. Not really any time for Villains to get out of it, because there was no time for him to really place vision in that top river bush. But yeah, really well played from the side of VIS so far. Little bit unfortunate for the side of Blue Sky that they didn't get the solo kill in top lane. But they did end up obviously trading back onto Decade in the river, which is a nice little bonus for Killer, who I believe is now 500 gold ahead. Not 500 gold ahead. 300 gold ahead of Decade after picking up the kill, but obviously that lead is going to balloon a little bit because he's going to go down and get this second Scuttle Crab in bot river. The bot lane for the side of Blue Skies is keeping the skies clear, so to speak, on the bottom in their lane so far, managing to bully out CTC in the early game, forcing him to base already. And
a little bit of a CS discrepancy between the two AD carries, but of course that's a Senna on the one side, right? You're kind of scaling anyway, and the Ezreal 5 CS is a little bit of a difference, but not too much of a hassle, especially because the Ezreal has a tier start. Actually, we probably should mention that 600 is doing a pretty good job with the tier start Ezreal and winning out the early lane.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice. And interesting thing to note. CTC has futures market on the center here.
Ooh.
I can just see that, checking the gold, he has minus 64 gold in his inventory after
was able to invest in longsword stocks.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe it was
Always
a potion
good.
that he purchased with that. But you know what?
I mean,
Worth.
more longswords are always better, right?
True.
I mean, I'm a Riven main. I gotta know. The more longswords you have, the better.
Not a math guy, but 2 is probably better than 1.
Absolutely. Or none in this case. So it's 3 swords on the Senna versus no swords on the Ezreal.
Yeah.
Then again, how do swords work with a gun?
We don't. How does crying give you more energy for your spells? We don't question these things. But,
That's a good point, actually. I have no idea.
Exactly, and uh, Ezreal does actually have enough gold at the moment to reset and get the double swords for his spells, which also make his magic more powerful. These physical objects.
Okay, so he's basically throwing magically, sword-empowered magic at people.
But how does it make the spell sharper, pointier?
Who knows? I thought we weren't going to talk about these things.
That's true, but you've got me curious now. I want to see. Is there a blacksmith for sharpening spells?
Ornn, maybe.
He's weapons, isn't he?
Well, he's a god, so pretty sure he could sharpen spells if he wanted to.
Probably.
We're gonna write a mail at the Riot lore department. How does a longsword improve Ezreal's magic? It's a good question. Overall, let's take quick stock in terms of summoners, actually, because villains already burned Flash and TP. Jenkins on the top side tried to get the kill on Bobo Bobbin with that Flash Ignite. Didn't quite get it.
No, but both teleports are about to go down as soon as the pause ends for the side of VIS, because Shady is teleporting to the mid lane and Bobbin is teleporting to the top lane. So basically 11 out of 12 of the topside summoners will be burned once this pause is ended. And on the opposite side of the map, or I say opposite side of the map, on the other side of the map in bot lane, only summoner down is the Leona Flash. And I know that there isn't a indication for Hex Flash.
Nope, no Hex Flash available for a Dalika.
So I don't know why he has secondary, but that is
kind of as expected, right? Topside, a lot of early brawling, a lot of early fights, especially the junglers at each other's throats, surprisingly. But successful both in their own regards, so to say, right? I'm really curious how this early game advantage for the LeBlanc is gonna go on from here, as we finally unpause the game, which is waiting for the post-pause spectator pause bug. Lots of pauses.
The good old unpause champ.
There it is. We go. Unpause champ. I like that one. I like that one. Put some we heard you like pauses, so we put some pauses into your pauses.
Yes.
And from here on out, we shall see.
And it looks like a 600 APM is going to base and spend that 800 gold. Is he going to buy? No, he's going for the different kind of sword. Look at this.
The blue sword. It's finally looking for the knockup. So it's a 3v2 in the river. They're actually going to steal away the scuttle.
Wow.
From Killer.
Okay, I did see. I was going to mention it, but the pause ended too quickly for me to mention it. That all of the camps on both sides of the map were down, barring the top side Krugs, which you can see just there on the minimap. But so it was completely possible with the number of people that were just coming out of base for the side of VIS to just charge down into that bottom river and try and contest the scuttle. Obviously they managed to do it. Took the scuttle away, made it so that Killer is going to have to wait just a little bit longer to grow his lead. He still hasn't based, which is something to note. 1600 gold actually that is unspent so far on him, as it looks like there might be a gank in the bot lane. Nope. Just gonna.
They're trying to force 600 out of a lane while the Leona is still away, and kind of a unfortunate timing from the guys on Blue Eagles as well, right? Chain does land. Villains trades up the miasma to prevent the follow-up. Yeah. Oh, there's the follow-up. Okay. Even trade.
Missed it. Even trade, yeah. That would have been a lot more positive for Shady if he had managed to hit the W there. I don't think it connected, but still pretty good. Villains is almost out of mana though, so he's going to struggle to push in this wave. I wonder if we'll see Decade show up here after he's taken that Raptor camp. Although he is also low on mana, so all in mid lane.
I mean, mana in the jungle is a little bit of a thing, right? Bobbin gets
Yeah.
the stun on Jenkins, but can't really connect any follow-up damage. So you smite something, or you get out of combat, and immediately it's back up to full, so you basically have to expect that Amumu to always have stuff ready. Interesting thing though, they are power farming both junglers to level 6 right now. And Amumu with
like,
that level 6 ultimate is going to be massive. Yep, they gank, top lane coming in, Dominus immediately traded, and Bobbin trying to get away from this gank. Empowered Carl the Meek is going to heal him up a little bit, doesn't even get it through because of the stun, and it's a clean kill for the guys on Blue Sky Eagles. Going to be picked up by Killer.
Yeah, made a bit of a mistake there. As you said, both junglers full clearing. Not quite sure if both teams are aware that both junglers are full clearing. I would like to think they are. Oh, fight on bot lane.
Oh, yeah. Dalika going in for some trades, but you can definitely see that CTC fairly comfortable on that Senna to actually play out these fights and get some damage back on the enemy team. But Smiley definitely trading for the worse here. That health bar looks a little bit
it's really hard for him to do a whole lot after his W is down. You know, because it's so easy for Ezreal to get out of all of that damage, and for Senna, she kind of just has to hit Leona until Ezreal's in range, and there's no way she can close the gap herself because Leona's keeping her trapped in place. So.
Absolutely.
Really hard to trade for them.
There's the knock-up going in. Smiley once again looking for a fight. That's Leona deep, though, with the Zenith Blade. Kate is in there as well. Smiley gonna die to the Ignite. Gets burned on the attempt of a kill. Kate trying to follow up, but Killer swooping in with the Kayn. And that's gonna be the turnaround.
Wow.
2 swift, easy kills for the jungler. And suddenly, it is looking absolutely fantastic for the Blue Sky Eagles.
Yeah, 3 for 0 there. CTC went so aggressive to try and chase down the kill on Dalika. And, there's a fight in mid lane.
Villains. The ultimate comes in. And the stun is more than enough. So much damage on the LeBlanc. And Shay is gonna get taken out.
Yeah. Wow. It's all coming up blue for the Eagles. This time around, maybe that's it. As you were saying, blue side for the Blue Eagles, but yeah,
it's definitely that Kayn, right? Killer had a pretty good early game on the first map as well, and now once again 4-0 up already. Of course, helps that Villains has a pretty favorable matchup for himself, as there is a gang on the top side. Smiley with the roam gets the knockup, but they don't have the damage on the Pantheon. Jenkins gonna give them something for that Troubles, though. It's gonna just flash in place for good measures. Or the dive. And gonna continue.
Yeah, they can follow this up.
Flash
it doesn't really have anything.
Beautiful plays by Smiley. And that does put a smile on Bobbin's face.
I think that must have been a little bit of a misclick there from the side of Jenkins. Bit unfortunate, but it's alright. Yep. The rest of his team is running across the map as... look at those! Just not enough.
The Flash Fangs are connecting, but it is not enough damage. Dalika in the top side all by himself, but there's a Kayn around the window. Yeah, he's just gonna chop through that one, pick up another kill for himself. 5-0. Gore Drinker already completed 9 minutes in. And the mid lane not looking quite alright for Shady either, so...
Yeah, it looks like Villains is coming into his own this game, as that is a Starfall top lane.
Yep, that's a Pantheon joining it, and Bobbin with the beautiful sidesteps and flash out.
Yeah, really well played by him to get out of that one, but man, they're just everywhere this game. They're doing really well for the side of Blue Sky to just punish every little mistake that VIS are making, and this time it feels like VIS don't have the sort of auto win comp to bail them out, and It's really showing.
Double chance in the
That's
mid lane. The
another solo kill.
Petrifying Gaze follows up as well. The tick is gonna be enough to take him down. Kate joins the fight. The curse of the set mummy is gonna seal the deal. Dalika trying to get away. Quickness was invested. Does Kate have the connection? No, it's gonna be Smiley with the knock-up to secure the kill as Jenkins disconnects from the game. So we're heading into another very quick pause to fix that connection issue. Should be resumed almost instantly, I think.
Yeah, I believe he's been having trouble for most of the game with his ping. That may have been the reason for the in-place flash under the tower in top lane. Obviously, there's not really a whole lot that the players can do about their ping levels other than just pause the game and hope it subsides, but we were obviously paused for 6 or 7 minutes at the start of the game to try and fix that. So yeah, hopefully it's fixed now as the pause does finish, and we are going to get the post-pause possibly.
Pause.
It's still
Maybe
going.
not. Maybe not. Who knows?
Games,
Who knows?
fixed client.
We know for sure that Villains just picked up another kill, even though he was traded out, and we know that we had 2 kills overall, traded back to the side of
There.
VIS eSports. The big question now is that enough to bring them back in this early game? And I think a lot of that is going to sit on the shoulders of Killer, who has most of the kills here.
Yeah, 1.2k gold lead for him over the top of Decade. So definitely a strong boy, and not someone you want to be running into too often here.
Yeah.
For the side of VIS. And this is the first time that we've really seen Blue Sky have a significant lead in the games. 5-0 is pretty huge. 550 gold shut down there. And has a Gore Drinker completed already, whereas pretty much everybody else is sitting on 2/3 of an item. So I want to see what they can get. I'm expecting them to be looking for this Mountain Dragon here to start stacking up towards the Soul. It's going to be spawning in a minute's time.
I'm expecting that bot turret to get hammered, especially with the Herald that Killer picked up in the last few minutes. He's actually looking for that 1v2 fight. Has the Leaker right behind him to back him up. Quickness gets invested here. Teleport comes in. That is a Renekton joining the fight, and Bobo Bobbin is here to play. He has the Dominus, has a lot of fury, gets the stun on the Leona. Kane's ult running out. Killer back to full HP. First kill goes over to Kane though, and CTC can get in a lot of damage, but now it's the jungler on top of him. That's a 501 Kane that you can get away from with maybe a flash, but Smiley with the knock-up, beautifully done. They get the shutdown, but Villains has a word to say here as well. Is gonna trade that back. Double kill for the Cassiopeia.
That almost was a triple kill there. That was. I think Killer was maybe showing off the wallet a little bit too much there. Went a little bit aggressive under the tower by flashing in against a Rakan with W up, but yeah, still worked out in the end. Almost a triple kill for Villains there. I believe it was Shady, just managing to sidestep the Q at the end, which had it hit him, the last bit of the fangs would have almost certainly killed him as well. So.
Shady porting to the top side. Kate is there as well. Jenkins in trouble. Not just the stun, but the damage follow-up lands underneath the turret as well. And it's going to be a quick kill for the LeBlanc. Worth it on the TP there.
Yeah, absolutely. But they are going to lose the Mountain Drake for that, obviously. Seeing Decade up there kind of makes it free. So I feel like they're still going to be thinking it's worth for the side of Blue Sky Eagles. And
I mean, you got to take what you can get on the side of this esports at the moment, right?
Yeah.
You're 2.5k gold behind. You're now 2 drakes behind. You just try to find some scraps left and right because you can't team fight against that Kane and Cassiopeia.
Yeah, it's really hard to do a whole lot here against these guys, but interesting thing to note, CTC going for the Kraken Slayer center builds. This is the one that I favor the most as it feels good to play, whereas the other ones are very slow, but the other ones technically have better numbers. So it will be interesting to see if he's able to position well enough to stay alive, because obviously this is the most vulnerable of the Senna builds that are currently in the market, as there's a lot of fighting.
Looking for a fight on the top side, though.
Just
That's
slapping
an
each
ignite
other.
against the Renekton.
He's
fighting
oh
off a
my
lot more
goodness.
than he can chew here. Kate barely getting up because of the Sand Mummy before he almost goes down. Trusha Barras lands, and now CTC joining the fight. Shady going down, taken out by the Mystic Shot, and once again, Killer finds the fight around the blue buff, and it's really just a death sentence for the boys over on VIS Esports.
Yeah, another Cloud Soul as well. So
Galika, little bit aggressive there. The Leona immediately taken out, but Killer can follow this up. Double knock up, and the damage lands. 600 APM. Not quite necessary for that play, but he still picks up a kill here.
They thought they had a pick and got away with it, but just not quite. Killer has so much money that he can basically build a bridge to catch you wherever you go, and that looks like a dead Smiley. Oh, flash for flash.
Very close. Flash for flash. Villains with the plays. Doesn't quite get it, but still taking any agency away from that Rakan to do anything in his own jungle. And look how scared he is of that True Shot Barrage.
Yeah, it really has to be worried about it as well, because 600 APM is starting to get rolling. He does have a 2,000 gold lead over CTC on the Senna here, so it will be a bit tricky to start to shut down this Ezreal, as I believe he's going to go for the Manamune here second, and then probably into Cyrilda's, and then maybe even a more of Malmoltius to keep himself safe against LeBlanc damage. But
might be.
It's gonna start to get really hard to control the carries here.
The thing I'm worried about the most is the only real comeback opportunity I see for VIS Esports is this Senna. Maybe some help from the LeBlanc, but Killer is an absolute menace. Beautiful damage there on Kate as they find the knock-up on the 3, and the LeBlanc swoops in for the kill. But Kane is still in the middle of the whole thing, does find the ult on Shady. He's gonna dash away, not quite knocked up, so he gets out just before the Grand Starfall is coming in. Smiley taken low, but VIS get out with a kill and fairly happy with that one-on-one trade.
Yeah, and it's going to give them control over the second Herald here as well. They can use that to start putting down
beautiful flash out of the Petrifying Gaze there by CTC away from the Cassiopeia. It's gonna save his life because Villains is not willing to follow that one up.
But he might be cut off by 600 APM here in the jungle if he's not careful.
Yep. It's Ezreal versus Senna. He does land the full first combo. The root lands though as well, and with the Arcane Shift on cooldown, I doubt that he has the ability to follow up. Smiley is there to save him, and now the rest of the team rolls in as well. Dalika all by himself gets the knock up there as well on the Leona, and she is very sad, alone and all by herself. But there is so much pressure.
There's no follow-up.
Cassiopeia, why are you pushing in, CTC? That's a wall of death you're walking into.
Oh no. He was so desperate to try and get rolling. He knows he has to do something in this game to carry it, and just a slight misstep there just gets caught out. And the thing is, you can't go chasing after these kills anymore for the side of VIS Esports, because every member of all of the carries are fed on the side of Blue Sky. You can't chase after, a Leona or a Pantheon if there's an Ezreal or a Cassiopeia or even a Kayn there.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the aggressiveness of both of these teams in the last few games already, and now it's the first round where VIS Esports is actually behind coming out of the early game, and you mentioned it earlier on already. That's kind of what they are getting punished for right now, as well as Dalika going in for the plays. Quickness comes in, double stun on the Petrifying Gaze, and Jenkins comes towards the back line, just takes him out. It's a double kill for the Pantheon. The True Shot Barrage lands from the Ezreal. Gonna pick up a third and call that a triple, baby, because the Blue Sky Eagles are very, very happy right now.
Yeah, that feels a lot like a game-ending nail in the coffin. The lead now is 8,000 almost, and oof, that's a huge amount to climb back, and especially being down so much in XP here as well for this side of VIS eSports, level 11 to level 12, and in both jungle and in mid lane, and level 10 to level 12 in the bot lane. It's just really hard for them to get anything back. They are gonna have to hope for a bit of a coin flip play for Blue Sky, which might be happening now as they are starting up the Baron.
That's a risky 20-minute Baron. We have the TP coming in from Shady here, actually. But we have Jenkins on the side there. Shady already going in for the damage. The chain lands from the LeBlanc, and there's a lot of follow-up potential here. CTC has the damage on the center. Baron is going to be stopped, but the Pantheon taken up before anything even can happen. And there's the big Amumu ult. Massive damage killer.
Oh my
goes
goodness.
in into the front line, but there's so much damage on that Kayn. He can just show through that one. Has a lot of sustain, and the petrifying gaze gives Villains the instant triple kill. They flipped the coin, and it definitely landed heads up for the Blue Sky Eagles. They're trying to swoop in for another one. Villains, absolutely legendary, finally gets rewarded for his great play this whole series, and they are gonna pull this play out, head back to the Baron, and probably pick this one up for free.
That is a 10 and 2 Cassiopeia now. I feel like you might be a little bit nervous walking anywhere near that. That looked like it was maybe going to be the fight, maybe going to be the engage that VIS needed to come back into the game, but the only people they killed was the Pantheon and the Leona. All of the Fed carries were still alive. You know, Killer was able to just go into Kanar, stay full health, and both 600 APM and Villains were not caught by that Amumu ult and were able to just dump a whole load of damage into the faces of VIS eSports. So looking like they're on their way to a win here with that Baron pickup.
Absolutely. Blowing up the gold lead to almost 10k, and that's a massive lead to have at 22 minutes. 3 dragons on top of that, the soul in grasp, 2 minutes 30 out. I don't see a lot of light left to help VIS eSports to get through this game and pull out this series. But hey, first game was also a little bit scrappy, and they managed to pull that one out. So we'll see where this one goes. We still have Shady on that LeBlanc, and let's be honest, CTC on that center is only going to get more and more dangerous the longer the game goes on.
Yeah, and I believe this pause isn't going to be a supremely long one because
teams are readying up already.
Yeah, they are. Is it going to happen soon? I know sometimes the chat is a little bit desynced in the.
There's a lot of stuff desynced in this client, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. But
yeah,
let's talk some more about Villain's performance so far. Has a massive fourth game right now. So third game, sorry. But also one of the strongest players on the roster for game 1 and 2 already. Had that quirky game in the second round. Absolutely beautiful as the Grand Starfall. Yeah, look at how quick that rotation comes in from Jenkins. Jesus.
Yeah, it's immediate. And, you know, this is sort of what we were expecting to see if the lead was flipped, because we saw a similar thing in the first couple of games from the side of VIS eSports. You know, they had a lead, and even if it was scrappy, they were always able to come out on top. And the gold lead this time is enough that they're just going to be able to.
On the Amumu. Curse of the Sand Mummy is going to come in, but he is ignited. There are too many minions. Barrage doesn't quite land. Beautiful sidestep by DK there, but still. He is chunked out so hard, he needs to pull back. That's going to be a tier 2 turret for their troubles.
You know, blowing these ultimates for them doesn't really have an effect on them anymore for the side of Blue Sky. They're just that far ahead. I think in mid lane it's a 4,000 gold lead. In bot lane it's a 3,000 gold lead, and in jungle it's a.
This one though, quickness lands, Jenkins takes a bunch of damage, but Villains is right there to follow up and protect his top laner. Oh, look at the Mystic shots. That 600 is chunking in there.
He hasn't even got any armor pen yet. I want to point that out. That's what he's going to be buying next, and I think he has gold for it as well. He does. So if he gets a little reset in here, buys that 20% armor penetration. Ooh, these are going to be hitting like a truck. Yep, there it is. Last Whisper.
I mean, he's already hitting like a truck. I mean, this is only going to get worse. And
hit like 2 trucks.
basically, yeah. And I want to talk about the Renekton in the top lane, because Bobo Bobbin, one of the more present players on the side of VIS eSports that had a great first 2 games. Jenkins with the Grand Starfall, a little bit too deep, flashes out immediately, only to just go back in. Sentinel from the top side, gonna connect for some damage and a little bit of shield, but it is enough to force VIS out and open the path to the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, and that's a really good sign, actually. Despite the fact that they didn't get anything, that small play is a really good sign for the side of Blue Sky. Jenkins recognized that he was not in a position where his team could follow up, and so he did actually just focus entirely on getting out of the danger first and then looking for the play. And that's the sort of thing that we've been criticizing these teams for so far in the series, that they haven't checked to see if people can follow up, or they haven't checked to see if it's too dangerous.
Yeah, talk about dangerous engage. You see Jenkins
goodness.
going deep over the wall, and that's him all by himself. Yeah, Castigar is coming in hard right there. Well done.
As soon as I start praising him for being aware of how dangerous it is to go in, he just dies in 1v5.
But still, he gets a lot of damage out, and quite honestly, what are VIS gonna do against this Ezreal poke?
It still might not matter. They still could be able to just push in here and take the tower, but obviously it's kind of vulnerable for them without the additional front line that the Pantheon provides. So yeah, they aren't going to end up getting the tower. I don't believe it.
Turelios popped Smiley looking for a connection on the Cassiopeia, caught out on the bot side. Last seconds, Zonias is gonna come in, but it's only gonna delay the inevitable. Killer following up, lots of damage coming in from the Kayn. The Solar Flare connects on 3 people, that's a lot of damage. Smiley dropping low, Killer looking for the finish on the Huracan. It's gonna be 600, picking that one up. The team fight is in full effect as Leona goes deep. The chain from Shady is gonna land as well, though everybody's joking. He's not choking, but it is gonna be the pickup on the kill for a Killer himself. Bobo Bobbin needs to be very, very careful, because there is Jenkins connecting the Grand Starfall and picking up the kill. They're cracking the base, they're cracking the inhibitor, and I'm pretty sure they are gonna take a little bit more than just that.
Oh, I love the confidence here so far in this game from Blue Sky.
Okay. Looking for a connection there. That's a Mumu 1v3 underneath the turret. If he had an ult, I think he would have actually pulled that play out with at least a kill. But
possibly. But it's that same thing of going in alone versus multiple people, and
and that opened the door to basically just take out the inhibitor here. Smiley connected on. Jenkins once again finds the pick, and this Pantheon is so devastating for VIS eSports. It's constantly Jenkins just jumping in on them.
Yeah, it's such a huge problem for them to deal with, and I want to just go back and say I love the confidence from the side of Killer there. He saw Jenkins obviously dive into the enemy base on his own, die 1v5, and after seeing them pop all their ults onto Villains to pick up the kill in bot lane, he just decided, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll engage without my team. And, luckily, Killer is able to survive a lot longer than Jenkins is with the Kayn ultimate and the insane amount of healing that he has. So they were able to follow up on it and end up winning the team fight and getting 2 inhibitors. But I just love that they're so willing to just go when they're this far ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's lovely to see. I mean, it's the aggression they've shown the whole series, and now it's finally paying off, right? If they don't get this early lead, they just crumble because their bodies can't keep up with what they are trying to do. But this is really working out for them. This early lead, they are so good at snowballing this. They're finding a lot of fights, and once again, they're just pulling the trigger on the Baron. Kate on the side is going to get chased down by Jenkins, but then Amumu still wants to go into the pit. Baron at 2.5k. He definitely can't go for a steal here. Tries to take it low, but he is gonna die, and the Baron easily picked up by Killer. Worth
they're just gonna go top.
attempt here, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a worthy try, but realistically, 12k gold lead, pretty difficult to come back, even with a Baron steal coming through. It's only really a delay, and yeah, sure, delays do give you a chance to come back much later in the game. Obviously, 10,000 gold means a lot less the longer we get into the game, but this time with a Nash, I think they're probably just going to go for this. And
yeah, but that's the sort of oh my god, CTC immediately explodes. That's a follow-up skill on the support as well. As Leona drops, he gives his life to victory for his team, as the Blue Sky Eagles on blue side are indeed swooping in for the game win. They will avert the match point here in Game 3 and take this series back to 2-1. As Bo Bobbin loses his life on the Fountain. Villains on the Cassiopeia, definitely putting on the carry pants next to Killer, and that's gonna be the Nexus, and we head to Game 4.
What a game. That was completely the opposite of what we saw in the first two games, and that makes me so excited for Game 4 and potentially a Game 5, because, you know, we finally saw what we wanted to see from the side of Blue Sky. Aggression, but not just aggression, but tempered aggression. You know, while there obviously was the moment where I cast a curse Jenkins into diving in 1v5 and dying, there were a lot of moments before where they kept themselves measured and, you know, went in when they had the tools available, and it really paid off for them.
Absolutely. And if that was with the Kane pick that already was working pretty well in Game 1 for them, or if it was the Pantheon top lane in combination with that absolute mind-blowing performance on the Cassiopeia, we'll discuss that one after a quick break, because we'll need a quick breather to keep going in this series. It's only gonna get better with another match point game here. The Blue Sky Eagles will try to turn this back. We'll see if we can get Game 5, but we'll do so in just a minute. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You will stay in 45. You will be our silent eye. We'll come seek us out. We will be there to give them reckoning. Oh, you shall wait at the city gates. You shall guide their way. You shall hear their command.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, game 4 is almost ready for us. The players are in the lobby. I'm Lithy. On my side, it was still Mr. Foxy himself, as the Blue Sky Eagles managed to take a game back. It's still 2-1 for VIS eSports, and they are looking at another match point attempt to close this series out and stamp their ticket to the grand finals. But for that, they need to win another game. And last one didn't look all that hot for VIS, did it, Foxy?
No, it didn't. And, this is the thing in these long series. A lot of these players, they don't play best of fives all that often. And when a series goes much longer like this, you start to see mistakes coming in. And this last game was such a confidence booster, I feel, for the side of Blue Sky. They just got so far ahead so quickly that it didn't really matter when they started to make mistakes towards the end of the game. They just had such a huge wallet that they could just slap VIS around with it and win the game. And I think a large part of that lead came down to the draft, and specifically this top lane matchup that we had.
The Pantheon working out really, really well in Bobo Bobbin, even though he went for that Renekton, not quite sure what to do in that matchup. Didn't work out, and Jenkins just able to snowball a lot of the game with his aggression on the Pantheon.
Oh.
And another factor was the Cassiopeia for villains in the mid lane, but that one is banned out now, and first pick Kai'Sa immediately secured since CTC's Jhin found the way to the bench once again.
Tom Kench.
Talk about bench.
What?
Yep.
Okay, I feel like this may have been pre-planned as soon as Olaf was left open for the side.
Yeah,
for the
you're
side
bringing
of
up
Blue
an
Sky,
interesting thing there.
I'm
Run
so
the
surprised.
frog immediately and pick the Olaf with that. And now I am really, really curious what that Olaf can do that it had to be banned away from Killer 3 games in a row.
Certainly
wait.
going to be an interesting. Wait, Blitzcrank? Oh, please tell
So
me
you-
we got a Blitzcrank.
You first pick Kai'Sa, then you
I-
see Tahm Kench Olaf and pick Karthus Blitzcrank.
They
Isn't
must
that like
surely
the exact opposite of what you want to do?
Yeah. I feel like
Okay.
Olaf is it, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm aware, Olaf's biggest thing that he wants to do is run at you and get in your face, right?
Yeah, kind of.
I'm not quite sure I understand the logic behind getting a Blitzcrank hook to help him do that.
Neither do I. I'm a little bit unsure what's going on here. I mean, the Karthus definitely is gonna have a fun time with a target that gets hooked and just chain CC'd for a few seconds.
I'm also
But on the other hand, I mean,
this feels
it's
so
three
bad for
characters on the
Kai'Sa.
other side that you don't want to have inside your team.
It's so far it's triple tanky or bruiser champions that Kai'Sa can't burst down, and Karthus is also going to struggle to kill with his R. So it's really, really important that VIS try and get something here that can work against this basically triple tanky team for the side of Blue Sky. because this is hard to kill. Kai'Sa does not have enough damage for this on her own, and
Yeah.
I want to know what 600 APM is going to pick up against it, because yeah, there you go, Ezreal. Comfort pick for him. Works perfectly fine with what they've got so far, and it's really on VIS here to try and put something together
I mean,
that
Ezreal can
works as a comp.
can stay safe in the back line. Once you start scaling, you have so much damage to throw at the enemy, and I'm gonna be very honest with you, Karthus, Blitzcrank, not ideal targets to dance around Ezreal Q's barraging you. But the Sylas picked up is definitely an interesting pickup here for VIS eSports. And we kind of got to talk for a second here about the Cannon, the Yone, the Corki, and the Cassadine band out. A lot of mid lane focus here. And once again, the counter pick is gonna go towards Villains and the Blue Sky Eagles.
And it's a huge surprise as well, because this is almost the same bands that we've been having throughout the whole series, and these drafts are completely different almost every single game. And Wukong being picked up, so I like it, but I'm also kind of what? Because I mean, they needed an AD pick. They have so much magic damage for VIS eSports across the rest of the map. And Kayle? Is that a Kayle mid? That is a Kayle mid. It's a Sylas, right? It is. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
I gotta be very honest with you here.
Yeah.
I think with that Kayle pick, unless both top and bot lane and the jungle just pop off for the Blue Sky Eagles, that Kayle pick is basically throwing away the series.
It may well be, yeah. You have such an aggressive trio in Tom, Olaf, Leona, and then you're picking Kayle.
I'm more worried about the fact that Villains is just gonna get stomped out in lane. You have a Sylas that's aggressive as hell in mid lane in the early game. Karthus with a crazy slow, and we are talking about a roaming support meta and a Blitzcrank in the bot lane. Smiley is gonna put up a tent in mid lane and just hook Villains back into the arms of Shady all day.
The trouble is that Smiley might not get a chance to roam, because I think Leona Ezreal is slightly stronger early on, so they may well have a chance to just keep this Blitzcrank bottled up in bottom lane. And then what can Karthus do to really assist a gank onto a Kayle? Not a whole lot.
He can press R.
Yeah, he can press R, but so can Kayle.
That is true.
Her, what's better, 600 damage or whatever the Karthus R is, or taking zero damage from that 600 damage, it's...
Yeah. The thing is...
She has survivability past level 6. I'm worried for the early few levels, yes, but I also think that the thing we're forgetting is that Villains has been one of the best laners, well, in my mind at least, the best laner so far this series. So if any of these players could pull off a Kayle into Sylas lane, it would be him. This is assuming Sylas is going to be going aggressive, because there's also every chance that Shady just wants to push in the wave and then try and go for something on the top lane or something crazy like that. So
yeah. The thing is, you're also giving Sylas the Kayle ult, right? You're presenting that one on the silver platter. That can be massive in the later team fights. Imagine Karthus just standing in your backline, just completely mowing down everyone with an invulnerability on top of him. That's gonna be not nice to deal with. And I'm very, very worried. I'm very worried about this Kayle. It might make the comp work. It might break the comp. It all depends on the side lane. You mentioned Leona Ezreal should have bot lane prio versus Kai'Sa Blitzcrank in the early game to prevent Smiley from roaming. But if that doesn't happen, if they get the early drop on 600 again, this can go south really quickly.
I think chat might know something that we don't, because 100% of all of the points are voting for Blue Sky. Maybe they all think that the Kayle's going to work out for this one.
Oh,
Might just put in a cheeky 10.
I'm gonna
on
go
this.
all in on VIS here because I
just
think
put a
they're
cheeky
gonna pull
10.
this one out. It's gonna be a 3-1 finish to the series, but
Oh yeah.
that Kale will be the breaking point of this game. If the Kale survives the lane and gets pop off, then this is gonna be a steamroll for Blue Sky Eagles. And she's not, well, you know what you say about eagles with clipped wings, right?
Yeah. Don't tend to fly very well.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this. Oh man, these first 5-10 minutes of the game could decide the whole game, regardless of how far ahead the leads are or not.